Welcome everyone to another day of Clash Royale League Asia. My name is Joseph. Joined with me, as always, is Simon on the professional analyst for today. And we're going to be here to talk about Clash Royale and see the wonderful Clash Royale back again to Japan after we've gone through Southeast Asia on Friday and on to Korea yesterday. Now we're here for another return of Japan, a region that we've been highly impressed with from their first showing last week.
Yeah, last week was some of the best games of Clash Royale I've seen so far in this league. There was Shun playing out of his skin the whole time. Just everything about this division has been phenomenal.
It really has. And just talking about the Asia region as a whole, we're going to start seeing clashes between the different regions starting next week. But today is the very last day. We're going to see the regions kind of clash between each other to make sure we know which teams are the best coming from their respective region. We're kind of seeing that from week one, that Game With might be the best team from Japan coming up.
Yeah, Game With did really well last week. They won their 2 games quite handily, I must say. Not a single one went to an ace match.
Yeah.
And overall, they looked stronger than everyone else.
Definitely did. And they're heaps above the skill level when it talks to the way they defeated the games. It wasn't about just not going to the ace match, but the way they handled them has been quite obvious to the fact that they were just a bit of skill levels above the other teams. And we thought that even FOV Gaming, when they beat their opponents with Detonation Gaming in the first series, we thought FOV Gaming, kind of the winners of the previous series, would kind of have to go toe-to-toe with Game With, obviously winning in their first series. Came back the second time. Definitely did not seem so as really they put the numbers on the FOV Gaming with Game With over there.
Yeah, we were expecting a very, very close matchup between the two, and somehow Game With just destroyed FOV Gaming. It was barely even close. But we can see the tables right now, the standings. We have Brent Esports and Kingzone Dragon X with those perfect 3-win, 0-loss records. Game With has the chance today to join that joint first from each region.
They do have one match incoming for today's schedule, and just winning that one could get them on the leaderboards here, top of the respective region. We saw Brent Esports coming on top of Southeast Asia with obviously Kingzone Dragon X doing their thing for Korea, so you can just kind of expect that Game With will be that third team to join in that rest here.
All right. So today's matchups, we're gonna have Ponos Sports versus Detonation Gaming. That's first up. That's Battle of the 01s, right? Both these teams lost their games last week, but they have perfect chance today to turn that around.
I mean, those two teams are the teams that played only once during their respective series last week in week 1, but coming into week 2, they do get 2 chances to at least put up 1 win on the board. And we had teams back over at Southeast Asia that HQ Esports that didn't do so well, couldn't get 1 win across 3 attempts to try. And we could see that once again from Japan, because we do have right now winless teams, 2 of them seeking for their first win of the regionals here.
Yeah, Detonation Gaming actually have the much tougher route today to put a win on the board, because they got to play Ponos first.
Yeah.
If they lose that, then they have to play Game With straight after. And Game With have already proven that they're one of the strongest teams in this region. Ponos Sports, though, they would have to play FAV Gaming. FAV Gaming last week did look really, really strong, and they just lost 1 game to arguably the best team in the region.
Yeah. And we're looking at whether Game With still the strongest team in the region. If that statement still holds true until the end of the broadcast, we're going to find out, because we do have one more sighting of them to really see their surroundings and see how they have adapted over the week of preparations. And we're going to see the different teams from Japan as well. So lots of exciting things ahead, Simon. We're talking about teams that we know, teams that we might not know at quite as well. We'll get to see a lot of them at the same time.
Yeah, I think there's going to be a lot of players who haven't played 1v1s today. Mainly because these teams don't want to show everything really early on. So we're going to be seeing probably Tengard from Ponos. We see Lewis today for Detonation Gaming. These guys didn't play 1v1 last week. They're playing this week, and that is going to show us just a little bit more about the team that we didn't get before.
Yeah, we're going to see if that's the case, because A lot of teams that we've been looking out for, has a lot of question marks into it, and just the Japan as a region, we don't get as familiarity with the data as we do with the Koreans, and we saw them from yesterday, Korea finishing up their region in a stronghold, and kind of saw, what the strongest teams definitely look like on the highest level with Kingzone Dragon X, with the help of Expo Master, really dominating the field there.
Yeah, the Korean teams, we were all expecting Sandbox to be incredibly good, but they ended up going 0-3. It was quite surprising because they are all very strong players. Right now we can see on the screen Ponos Sports team profile. When it comes up, here we go. We have Mikambuya, Fuchi, Tengod, and Raiki Jones.
See those 4 players are right above, and Steve Mikambuya currently on the 6.6K standings with the trophies. Very impressive with Raiki Jones coming in second at 6.3. But we talk about trophies, it's all that. But we've come to learn that trophy doesn't mean everything in competitive Clash Royale, as players try to sacrifice some of that trophy just for experimental values and the time that you use and the effort you use just to try out different things so you can be more versatile once the different strategies come about.
I don't know about SEA, but in the Korean region we had Kingzone Dragon S. Their average trophy count was considerably lower than everyone else's in that region.
Yeah.
They finished first very, very strongly.
Yeah.
So we can say without a doubt that trophy count doesn't matter when it comes to the professional level. Everything is equalized on tournament level. Maybe they're just not into grinding ladder as much.
I mean, that's what you get. Even if you do not, particularly worry about the trophy count, you still end up with an average of 5K to about 6K for some players here. And what we're going to be seeing here is a 1v1 starting off right away. We're going to get obviously the 3 minutes for the both players to select their decks and see what's the best way forward for both of these teams, of course, with Ponos and Sports and also Detonation Gaming. These 2 teams really need a win right off the bat. Definitely we're going to see one recording the win while the other still is going to remain winless there.
Yeah, nobody wants to enter the cross-region play 0-3. That's going to really hurt your confidence. It's going to hurt the mentality of the team. Maybe you think, oh, maybe I'm just not good enough to play at this level. When that doubt starts creeping in, we see players playing really, really bad.
Okay, we're going to see the ban cards coming in for all these players here and see what they do, because we've seen quite a variety of ban cards depending on the strategy of your entire team, really, when it's about how you can move forward with a certain type of deck, and you're just trying to consider that into play in the way you select your ban cards against your opponents here.
Yeah, last week Ponos Fuchi, who played the 1v1, he banned Collector, and Detonation Gaming's Ku, who played against FAV, banned the Miner. So we might see something similar today? I'm not sure. Maybe it's a team ban more than the actual single-player ban, or it could be the single-player ban, and we'll see something completely different.
I mean, a team that lost to Lava Hound and Balloon combo, we call it the Lava Loon sometimes, and seemingly banning at the Balloon was the answer on that occasion. It's like it feels like the Lava Hound wasn't the biggest issue, where the Balloon coming around after it, dealing just drops and eventually getting the tower out. Saw the team's really prioritizing the Balloon ban for those occasions. So, it depends on what you feel like you're weak against. And got the one of them right, definitely, Simon. And you got to see the Collector being banned out from the side of Ponos.
Yeah, and the Giant being banned out by the side of Detonation Gaming. A very interesting choice. Not sure why you would ban Giant. We didn't see it last week from Ponos at all. Maybe they just know that Tengod is a very strong Giant player who likes to mix things up a little bit. Instead of playing the Golem, he likes to play a Giant up front instead, freeing up a little bit more Elixir to put a bigger push behind it.
It is a bit of a unique ban, you have to say. We could understand a Golem ban if you really have a hard time against the Golem push coming in, but with the Giants, it's mostly about the double Princes just coming in and trying to rush that Golem in, not Golem in, just Giant in a little bit faster. But see, obviously the Dark Prince being nerfed, and we're seeing at the same time less Giants being played overall. We're seeing more of the Golems and obviously the Lava Hound with the Balloons. That's been a thing with the heavy deck rushes, but mostly it's about the Giants being made less of a priority for many of the players here. So must be an interesting reason why Lewis, on the side of Detonation Gaming, felt like the Giant ban was necessary.
Yeah, Tengod banning Elixir Collector is actually a very standard choice because it does make a lot of decks very difficult to play. It makes 3M, Three Musketeers, very difficult to play.
Yeah.
It makes a P.E.K.K.A focus deck a little bit more difficult to play. Banning Elixir Collector, it soft bans a few other type of decks. Whereas banning Giant doesn't quite have that same effect.
No, that's what we were kind of intending at. Like, what is the purpose of the Giant ban coming from Lewis? He likes to play the Dark Prince, and even the Mega Minion. But look at that. You know, that's already a combo with the Giant, and you would feel that he'll be the one to pick out the Giant here. But you saw the most cards he has played were the Double Princes, but it did result in 2 losses for him, so maybe he's not going with that deck overall, and he's just trying to change up the strategy altogether, so we don't know really what to expect from him today.
Yeah, but that was from 2v2, and usually we don't see a lot of professional players here playing the same deck in 2v2 as they would in 1v1. Yesterday we saw 2 Giant Skeletons plus Clone just wiping the floor with defense. It just does so much damage when those bombs go off.
Yeah.
Banning a card because of someone's 2v2 deck just seems a little counterproductive to me.
Really seems odd until we get the final answer as to what deck is being brought out by the side of Detonation Gaming. Then we'll start to get a little bit of hint of answers as to this is the reason why he banned it, and we'll kind of get a hint of that once we do actually get into the game. We do have just a bit of seconds before we do get into the games here. As you can see on the timer, 20 seconds left before both teams are left to choose deck for the battling methods, and see the most played cards. Saw that in below for both players.
Yeah, I think Tengod made a perfect ban there, since Lewis's most win deck was 3M with the Elixir Collector. So perfect ban there, just to make sure that he cannot use his comfortable deck, the deck that he feels the best with.
Sure. And you're talking about soft banning when you come to Elixir Collector. Just overall, Three Musketeers really difficult to pull off when you're talking about lack of the Elixir Collector giving the extra boost. Because once you're done with that 9 Elixir, the defensive opportunities don't come arise if you don't have the extra Elixir, boosting your energy there. But we could see, a lot of different priorities for different players. We're going to see Lewis, now that the Elixir Collector has been banned out, he's going to go a little bit soft, and he's going to go a little bit lightweight when it comes to the Elixir usage. We can't find that out, but I think the players will be done in any minute now, selecting their deck here and get ready to go into the first game.
There's once again just confirming the bans that Tengod did ban the Elixir Collector. Lewis did ban the Giant. And here we go into the game. Tengod is in the blue at the bottom, and Lewis is in red at the top. Kind of the opposite colors of what their actual team uniforms are.
Sure, and just trying to get the home and away system correctly, just so that both players play on both sides. And starting off with the Miner here. Gonna be rivaled quite slowly by the Royal Giant, just taking 1 hit along with the Princess Tower. Doing enough work to get that job done. Mega Minion being summoned against the Skeleton Barrel here.
That's the Goblin Gang there to pull the Royal Giant down into the middle, making sure that he gets taken out by the towers. He's going on a little bit of an adventure here, that Royal Ghost. There we go. Finally decides to go and attack a tower. Electro is and a Bandit as well. Interesting choice. We haven't seen that many Bandits. Miner on the defense, but the poison takes care of both the Bandit and the Dark Goblin.
The Dark Goblin being summoned there as well. The poison taking it down to half health, but needs a zap to finish that off for the minion horde there. Skeleton's going to be exploding down on the ground along with the very nice Electro Wizard to get rid of that. Even aggroed away the spears coming from the Spear Goblins.
Yeah, it's very interesting that the Japanese region tend to use a lot of Dark Goblin, and we don't really see that much in the other regions. Like, we've seen it come up again and again and again in a deck as a very strong defensive tool, but he's not very good on the offense.
Okay, we're going to see just a preemptive Miner spawn just to make sure he takes all the tanking away from the Bandit.
Yeah, the Bandit charge does so much damage when it connects onto the tower, and you do not want to take any extra damage at this point in the game. They're both players are very even right now, and just a little bit of extra damage is going to tip the balance of this game.
And we're just going to see the last reveal coming from Lewis there. You're going to see the P.E.K.K.A summon for the very first time. We're going to see the P.E.K.K.A summon on the other end with Tengod. He's going to be slightly behind on defense here. Skeleton Barrel, I wonder if he has Electro Wizard to take care of that. Oh, but he summoned it late! He summoned it a little bit too early. Oh, the Skeleton got so much damage onto that. That was a very much a miscalculation on the timing with the Electro Wizard. Supposed to do that as soon as the Skeleton Barrel pops. Goes onto the ground with the Skeleton, but slightly early there. Coming in, but still rivals a lot of damage in. The Mini Horde's going to be coming in. Not much for the Mega Minion to do. Okay, we're going to see the Electro Wizard with the addition of a Zap to take care of that combo.
Yeah, Tenga didn't want to run the risk again of missing that Electro Wizard timing on the tower, because that tower would have died at that point. So he summoned the Electro Wizard a little bit further forward, making sure that it doesn't get anywhere near the tower.
We're going to see both players missing out on their chance to get free tower shots with their miners, and we see the P.E.K.K.A being summoned on both sides. I would imagine the one coming from Lewis will get to the halfway line first.
Definitely should, but usually you want your P.E.K.K.A on your side of the lane so that the Princess Tower can help out. But it doesn't seem to be making that much of a difference, and the Miner comes in at the back. Electro, that's a Bandit, and the Electro Wizard did make it change target.
Yeah, it's going to aggro it away, make sure the Bandit's the one that you want to attack, not the tower, because 503 on both sides. The Miner attacking on the same opposite side here.
There we go.
And that will be the end. Lewis's tower is going to go down first, as we saw the last minute. Miner play coming in with the poison. Got the job done there, just barely.
Very, very close game there. Both players back and forth, back and forth. Anyone could have taken it. Another mistake on one side would just mean it was game over. Both towers were just super low.
Yeah, and it could have been just either way. 500 damage on both HP before that last play did come about, so it really means that 1 inch of a difference could have made a difference. And we talked about, obviously, with Tengard making that huge mistake with the Electro Wizard, suffering a lot of damage from the Skeleton that were summoned on the ground, taking free hits, whereas just 1 millisecond of a difference could have made all the less of a tank difference when it came to just wiping out the Skeletons out of the way. But that small difference could have made a big factor, but it ended up being Tengard just able to recover through and still make the victory count.
Yeah, Lewis there, he put out a preemptive good game, and that kind of blocked where that Miner was for us. I don't know if it'd be the same for, the players in the game, but we couldn't really see that Miner at the back because of the good game being called. So I'm assuming he knew it was over at that point. He didn't have the elixir to defend any kind of push, but I'm unsure. It seems a bit weird there to play that preemptive good game, It
is but it's just a way of handling things in the games once you're actually progressing through each stages of the game, and that the two players are facing forth from the beginning to the end. There's a lot of things going through their head as they do that, but we're gonna go into game 2 though and see if Tengard can continue on from what he has shown in the first game. I'm sure Lewis felt like the mistake that he saw from the Electro Wizard from Tengard would have meant that he had a better chance to somehow pull out a victory. It didn't happen there. Try again in game 2 here.
Yeah, it's going to go all again. Lewis needs to win this. Lewis didn't play terribly last time. Just Tengard had that little bit of extra oomph on his pushes. But we are going to be getting into this game. And once again, Tengard is going to be in the blue at the bottom. Lewis in red at the top of the screen.
So Tengard not taking any tears from Lewis, as you can see. Stop crying, as he says. Let's see how this goes between the two players here. Ice going to begin us off. Lewis still seems like the Aurora Ghost has been very loyal to him.
Yeah, this could be the same deck for Tengard, which would be very interesting. But there's an Ice Wizard.
Already switching it up. Poison coming in now, just trying to get rid of the Ice Wizard so that his units can move in without trouble.
Yeah, that Poison just chunks down the Ice Wizard to a point where the Mega Minion will just sneeze and it will die.
And we'll get a bit of aggro, just making sure it doesn't target the Ice Wizard at the minute. It has to wait so long, as you can see.
Yeah, Graveyard at the top, making sure that the guards come down. And Tengard actually missed his log, which would have helped significantly to stop those guards from pushing forward.
And really saw how the guard can be such a good counter to the side of the Graveyard. Saw that there coming from Lewis.
Goblin Hut will distract the Royal Giant, and there's a poison down too, making sure that you cannot get full value out of that Goblin Hut.
Okay, the poison being set very nicely. make sure that it doesn't summon as many Spear Goblins so far.
Yeah, Lewis has a slight elixir advantage going into this point, but now that the Goblin Hut has gone down and there's an Ice Wizard on the field, he's going to have to burn that advantage.
Gonna have to do that just to get the Electro Wizard to stop it on its tracks, and gonna see the Ice Golem being summoned out once again. The Electro Wizard just wasting its time, trying to chunk it down as much as he can, but we see the Graveyard on the other side now for Lewis. How's he gonna handle the, he's gonna go with the Poison, a defensive one, just to make sure he doesn't take any measly damage from those little skeletons.
Yeah, the defensive Poison against Graveyard is incredibly strong. You might only take one hit from the skeletons, from the whole potion. And it's really difficult to make sure that you don't take any damage at all. But he does throw down his own Graveyard here. And the Ice Golem being summoned and Lux as well. But he is taking a few too many hits here from that Graveyard.
Yeah, the Ice Golem not really interested in the skeleton, as he's just walking on his way, and his way is in about, and means that got a little more turret damage from the side of Tangod once again. Poison being put out defensively to make sure that Graveyard is of no use.
The defensive Poison here, I'm not sure if it's the right choice because there are so many goblins walking down now from that hut. And it's going to keep spawning. He's going to get full value out of these goblin huts.
Just get 2 goblin huts up there from Lewis, and how can he handle it with so many spear goblins just staying right there in the back? The log is going to help it clear out. Going to have 4 elixirs here once again, Tangod, to just get that poison out of the way. Make sure his unit stays safe and sound.
Both players poison summoned at that bottom left-hand side, making sure that the skeletons from both players, because there was a tombstone down there, couldn't escape from that little area.
We see the double summon of the Goblin Hut once again. See how that can progress forward, because still Tangod has that log, as you can see right there, just clearing out a big wave of goblins in an instant.
Yeah, with this many Goblin Huts, it becomes very hard to push forward because the Spear Goblins will take down most of the tools that Tangod actually has.
Okay, he's going to go for the Graveyard, but he hasn't used his poison. Now he's going to use it on the offensive end. And how can he handle this? They're trying to make sure they can get as much damage done, but Lewis having a hard time just nodding his left and right. What he can do with this.
Yeah, the poison taking out the Goblin Hut does so much for Tangod. He's going to be able to push a little bit easier now that the Goblin Huts are out of the picture.
Okay, we're going to see the Ice Wizard, instead of the poison used defensively, I think he's just trying to save that for his own Graveyard Poison combo. Down to 982 here.
Both players, it looks like Tangod has the advantage, and Lewis is
last one.
Needs that defensive poison, which he does throw down, but he's still taking some damage.
Oh, but he's going to throw it at the little bit of a weird spectacle there. 157 to 130.
And it's ticking down. One more sneeze, one more hit. There's the log. That's going to finish it.
80 plus damage to finish him off, and Tangod feeling very good about the way he slowly handled his opponent and eventually got the win in a chip damage win. Very good, clean win coming in from Tangod in his first series.
Yeah, Tangod just did enough to stop all that pressure from the 2 Goblin Huts. 2 Goblin Huts, and some points he had 3 as well.
Yeah.
It's so hard. There becomes this huge wave every few seconds for next to no elixir cost. And to push that back, to be able to push into your own, you're going to need a really, really strong heavy AoE push.
And really didn't see that from any of the Japanese players today, as we saw Tangod and Lewis just playing out in a lightweight, just a jab for jab, and trying to trade damage as the time went by. We eventually saw this the Graveyard and the Poison combo. Who got the better of it became the eventual winner at the end. We saw Lewis trying to put his efforts to making that same stick that we saw coming from game 1 from Tangod, but really came to a win over Deponos. Obviously, Tangod doing his job to get the first win on the board here.
Yeah, this takes us now to our 2v2 game. We have Mikamboya and Fuchi for Ponos, and Pirameki and Matsumoton for Destination Gaming.
Let's see this 2v2 here between the 2 teams and see whether Ponos Sports can they just extend this now to a 2-0 series that could just end it out without even needing an ace match. And we know that once you win the 1v1 and you do win the 2v2 right after, the scoreline does become 2-0, making it unnecessary to even really play the ace match, and we can just move right on to the next two teams.
Yeah, Detonation Gaming really do need to win this set. They really, really need to win. Actually, just this match. Because Detonation Gaming have to play Game With next, who are going to be really, really strong. And they are, if they lose this, there is a very high chance they are going to finish the regional section 0-3.
And Detonation Gaming, this might be the quote-unquote the easiest opponent they might face all day today, because with Ponos already having lost one and really not having won a game in week 1 of last week, just knowing that they might be the ones to lose out this one, then they might go up to a tougher opponent and have even a harder time to pick out another win. So that, I should say, Simon, could end in a lossful streak for the side of Detonation Gaming if they could not find out a win against Ponos here.
Yeah, we're just waiting for the ban cards to come out, but I'm going to guess there is going to be a very good chance that a Tornado is banned. Maybe a Poison ban?
Sure.
Because we've seen a lot of Tornado bans in 2v2.
Yeah.
And a few of the teams have started to go, okay, so we know our opponent's going to ban the Tornado, so we'll try something else. What else do you think you could ban in 2v2 that would make a big dent?
I think it's interesting, too, that you mentioned that. We saw the Tornado and the Poison ban coming out from a 2v2 match back in Southeast Asia we had casted about 2 days ago. And we saw players really just kind of confused about what deck is the right way forward, because literally those are two cards that are the biggest spell cards, the most effective in running down and defending down a heavy, artillery unit just rushing all forward at the same time. Just meant that these players had to either choose one of the two things. They either had to make an all-in push, but since they can't defend that, make your own all-in push on the other side and try to see who can push a little bit faster. We saw that as a strategy, but also at the same time, we talked about Graveyard, just a sudden rush into the opponent base, and we saw that come into play as well. So a lot of interesting spectacles depending on where the ban cards go. So I think Tornado's still the most popular. Obviously, the ban card for these 2v2 variants. Might see that once again.
Yeah, we've seen quite a few times that both teams end up banning the Tornado, which opens up a lot of opportunities. There's still a lot of decks you can do. Yesterday, we saw Double Giant Skeleton Clones. We saw Executioners. We saw basically everything but the kitchen sink in those games. You know what I mean? Like, we saw everything being played.
Really, yeah. If you have 16 cards to choose from and you're choosing from loads of decks, then obviously many of the cards are more valid than others in a 2v2 environment. Means that these players definitely have a priority when it comes to just trying to all-in your opponent. Just make sure you want to win at that split second, and you can actually see that once again coming from this Japanese side now with Pono Sports and Detonation Gaming 2v2. That could end it all for Detonation Gaming. If they do not win out this one, Pono Sports could end it right here with another victory.
Yeah, we've seen a lot in 2v2 actually that structures are not played at all.
Yeah.
We haven't seen many Goblin huts, no Barbarian huts, I think, no crossbow. We saw Tesla. Tesla is actually a super good defensive unit, and I think we might see Teslas in this match today. But what else? Like, it's so hard to guess where teams are going to be making their decks and what they're going to be putting into these 2v2s. Let's see what they've banned. Tornado and Golem.
Golem banned for the first time in forever, I would think. We thought it makes sense. We always thought that Golem ban makes sense because most of the heavy artillery all-in pushes are based around the Golem for 2v2s. And if you don't have a Golem, you're either trying to do a Lava Hound and a Balloon push and trying to get that Rage onto play, maybe even clone in between. We sometimes even saw a Giant Skeleton just trying to clone that, making a double bomb right in front of the tower, get about 2,000 damage on that. But what's important about this deck is that you don't have a Golem-based rushes for a 2v2.
Yeah, Golem slow build-up decks are just so hard to stop. Once they get that ball rolling, suddenly you see things like Witch, Night Witch behind them. You see Elite, you see Guards, you see Barbarians. You could put anything behind that push, and it will deal so much damage. Inferno Dragon behind. Assuming there's nothing in front of the Golem and that Inferno Dragon connects, it's going to take out the tower. Really, really simple.
So without the Golem now, what do you base your deck around?
Giants is a possibility.
Could, but we're trying to see whether they're going to go for all-in push or whether they're going to go for a different outlook of what a 2v2 could look like. Most of the 2v2s that we've seen so far have been literally just heavy pushes on one side, do it until you get a tower, and it's just been a trade between that back and forth. Who builds the better rush has been the kind of the main center of attention for these 2v2 matches we've seen so far from all regions, really. And coming to the Japanese region once again, let's see what they do without the golem. With the big question here.
Yeah, I can definitely see Hog Rider. Without the tornado, Hog Rider's not going to get pulled to activate the King Towers. We could see Miner as well. I think chip decks might be the better option today with these bans.
Chip decks in a 2v2 is something we haven't seen for quite a while, because we've seen very, very heavy decks, heavy as heavy can put it in. Do have 1 minute before both these teams, with Pono Sports currently leading against the Detonation Gaming. See if they can pick out another win. See how they maneuver to do that. We're gonna find out in a minute or so.
Yeah, his most played cards, Zap, Fireball, and Mega Minion, and he has a 0% win rate with each of them.
Yep.
At this point in time, it's worth noting that all the stats you see are kind of meaningless right now, because it's still so early in the tournament that, sure, he lost 2 games, but it doesn't mean anything. It means he just lost 1 2v2 probably.
So rather kind of a wayward situation when you have a very small sample size to work with. And we only had a week of Clash Royale for all the regions, so basically a day for each region. So now we're on to the second day now for Japan, and see what they can do after kind of recovering back from week 1. Obviously, both teams suffered a loss in the only try at their opponents, and coming back here after thorough preparation and really seeing what they can do to better prepare for these matches to come. Obviously, these two teams both suffering losses on their previous week. They want to come in and try to pick up a win, and in the way to do that, I think thorough preparation definitely was a process to get there.
Yeah, Detonation Gaming have made a big change in their whole kind of team today. They've brought in Matsumoto, who didn't play last week at all. Is he going to be the savior of Detonation Gaming? That's the big question in this 2v2.
Let's see if that's the case, because haven't really got a glimpse of what Matsumoto can do for his team, and see what he can do is going to be the interesting thing to kind of keep track of. Of course, we do only have a couple of minutes before we get into the actual game. The players should be now finished building up their decks, and I think they're just trying to talk it over for the last few bit of seconds to make sure they're ready to go and try to pick out a win for both of their teams now. It's obviously reminding you that Pono Sports, if they do win out once again, it's going to be just game over for Detonation, and they're going to be going down to a 0-2 record book, something they do not want to be in a situation. But if Detonation Gaming does win, we're going to go to ace match with one best player from both teams can come out to decide it all there.
Yeah, so we have, once again, Ponos in blue. We have Fuchi and Mikambuya in the blue at the bottom. And we have Matsumoto and Pyrameki in red at the top of the screen. And there we see the miner, so we probably will be seeing a very chip damage kind of deck here from Pono Sports.
See the zap coming through, a second zap coming through, just to try to minimize the damage coming in from the guards. So now a lot invested. 4 elixirs invested just for the 3 elixir guards there.
Yeah, the Lava Hound, Mega Minion. I guess we're going to see a Lava Hound balloon deck from Ponos. Not the chip style, but there is a poison.
But you just got to talk about the fact that 2 zaps have been used for both players. So knowing that, the Lava Hound was going to be kind of quickly, rather quickly, especially coming in from the Inferno Dragon, just chip it away. Not have to worry about the zap here.
Yeah, the Inferno Dragon, we saw bats. There was the zap that cycled back in. But again, it missed some of these skeletons. It didn't hit the elite, the guard either. Kind of a misplaced zap, I feel.
See that, obviously, Inferno Dragon coming out once again. Gonna be going for the Skeleton Barrel on front. Trying to make sure it takes all the damage from the Inferno Dragon initially.
Yeah, and even secondary, when those skeletons drop, you want those skeletons to still be in front of the Lava Hound so that the Inferno Dragon connects onto those. But that didn't happen this time due to the Dart Prince just destroying those skeletons from behind. And now we have a very strong
double
push.
Prince. How can he stop this? Nice Electro Wizard to make sure he comes that into play. It's no damage from the units, only taking a few from the Fireball there.
Yeah, that Electro Wizard was perfectly timed. The tip of the Prince's lance was right on the tower. It was about to connect. Down comes the Electro Wizard, resets his charge, takes next to no damage from that push.
And look at the Tombstone once again, just trying to put it on the opposite side of the Giant.
Double Lava Hound.
Okay, so this is going to be an interesting one.
It's a lot of heavy units there.
Lava
And
Hound
Detonation
right there.
Gaming go with their graveyard, but double poison is going to basically nullify that graveyard. And there's a freeze on the top.
Okay.
Detonation Gaming froze that push. Lava Hound still gets a few hits, but everything is going down up there.
Okay, 700 down to 600 now for the side. Detonation Gaming will have to be a little more careful. Still trying to push this Giant combo into play, and they're basically thinking if they can get this to work. Giant is still quite healthy, so I wonder with the Dark Knight, can they make this push possible? But still taking no damage for the Giant eventually, and that's going to be a good feeling.
Minus coming at 1-2. There's a fireball almost down. Ponos have such an advantage in this match so far, but everything can change with just one ill-defended push. There's a freeze.
Wasted. You saw over there coming in from the fireball, trying to get out.
Poison is going to finish up that tower. There we go. Ponos Sports taking the win in game number 1 in this 2v2.
Game number 1 going over to Ponos. They are only one game away from deciding their fate to recording their first win on the board for this regionals here. You can only do it with a 1-game win, but a rather clean win. We talked about what they were going to base their rush around, and we saw the Lava Hound coming in from Ponos Sports and also coming from the Giants over at Detonation Gaming, trying to get that the graveyard and also the poison spell, trying to do that 9 elixir combo along with the Giant rushing in, trying to use that as a distraction, make it all the damage. But yeah, we saw the answer coming in from Ponos Sport when they had their own poison to really nullify the graveyard altogether. So 9 elixir used really doesn't do anything other than putting poison damage on the tower. But when you have the nullification of the graveyard with just the 4 elixir of the poison, so that's definitely a win towards Ponos Sport on the defensive end.
Yeah, this is why a lot of pro players now do carry that poison, and that's why we see it banned a lot, is because graveyard is completely countered by a poison spell.
Yeah.
It gives you 1 elixir advantage on the defense, but if they're going for their own poison graveyard, it gives you such an advantage. It's giving you, what, 4 advantage?
It's giving you 5.
Yeah, it's 5 elixir advantage. 5 elixir advantage from 1 poison spell.
And you're just taking a little bit of damage on your tower just from the poison, but that's about 200, 300. It's not the biggest deal in the world, and you can take that for days. If you're going to get a 4 elixir head on that tray, you'll take that any day of the week there.
Yeah, the only problem is you do lose your offensive poison, which is so potent with a lot of decks. You do need that. For Hog Rider, for example, you want to make sure the minion horde's not there, the goblins aren't there, and that's what the offensive poison does. So if you're using it on the defense, it still has a big weighty decision. I could use it on the defense, or I could make my push stronger. But it really is worth just using your poison and nullifying that graveyard.
So knowing that Fuchi and Mikambuya, after winning their first game, they do have the poison. If that's the case this time around, that just means that Masamoto and Pyrameki from Detonation Gaming will definitely not be relying on their 9 elixir trade. You can see the Lava Hound being summoned once again with the Mega Hound, Mega Minion right behind it, trying to push it a little bit forward.
Yeah, Detonation Gaming seems to be going for the Giant Prince Dark Prince combo again.
The Giant is countered once again by the Tombstone. It's going to attract it a little bit towards the pack here.
There's the Inferno Dragon, making sure that that Giant will drop very quickly. The Dark Prince, however, is going to connect onto the Electro Wizard, but it's taken down before it even sniffs the tower.
There's the Electro Wizard. Take it down.
Same as that Lava Hound combo, actually. The Lava Hound combo didn't even reach the tower.
I don't think it did, and we saw that nullify quite quickly. We were looking towards the Giants, see what happened there, but still looking towards the Miner. Trying to do some chip damage for the side of Ponos Sports.
Yeah, Miner is such a good card here. Every little damage it does is going to help in the final seconds of the game because it does make that tower easier to take down. As we can see, Ponos Sports towers are completely healthy. They've taken a little bit of damage, but Detonation Gaming have taken a lot of damage on that top right-hand side.
See the Graveyard and the Poison nullifying each other once again, so a 1 elixir trade.
Yeah, Yeah, you can get very lucky and get 3 or 4 hits, even if you drop a poison, even if your opponent drops a poison. But it really depends on where the skeletons spawn within that graveyard potion.
Yeah, we're going to see the skeletons still putting out a lot of chip damage onto the left side of the tower there. Lava Hound once again summoned for 7 elixirs. You can see the Lava Hound, not the Lava Hound, but the Infernal Dragon shifted onto the left side, so not going to be effective against the Lava Hound coming through. Second Lava Hound being summoned now for the side. Pono Sports.
Dark Prince, but Detonation Gaming's Dark Prince went down the opposite lane. They could have had 2 Dark Princes and the Prince here defending, but that Dark Prince went down the wrong side.
So only relying on the Infernal Dragon to do the defensive units, but making it really difficult with still 1 Lava Hound safe and sound on the right hand.
Damage.
Still not dead.
Still going. The Infernal Dragon is down. The Miner comes in.
The bat is there as well, just pushing it out, and there's no defensive answers coming in from Detonation Gaming. That means they're just trying to do the push on the end, hoping to get things right, but definitely hasn't worked the first time. Means that it won't happen the second time. So once again, trade there.
Detonation Gaming have activated Ponos' King Tower with that poison graveyard, and that should be it. Like, Ponos' position here is just way too strong.
They're still putting on the pressure to make Ponos feel like they're the definite winners there. Detonation Gaming really being handed there the way they couldn't react to all the attacks coming in from Ponosport. Very nice, clean win once again, 2-0, 2-0.
Yeah, I mean, as Ponos Sports here, they have to be feeling so relieved. After going 0-1 last week, they didn't play very well, I would say. And then taking this 2-0, 2-0, that's going to give them the boost they need to challenge Fav Gaming later on tonight.
And this is definitely not the Pono Sport that we saw from last week's games. We're coming into week 2. Seems a lot more prepared and seems like against a weaker opponent. Obviously, we can see that now. We definitely didn't know that was the case until the 2 teams decided to meet. And now we have those 2 teams, Ponos and Detonation, trying to meet up. Feel like they're the ones to move forward now and really see if they can beat other teams as well now.
Yeah, Ponos are going to have such a bounce coming from this. Even if they lose to Phonos FAV tonight, they're going to be able to go into the regional competition, the overall competition, with a bit of a stronger mentality than going 0-3 and being bottom of the table. But here we can see the replay from game 2, I think. Set 2?
I think this would be set 2. Yeah, you saw the game 1 going over to Ponosport by that crown over there.
Those Lava Hounds just stayed alive so long. There's still a Lava Pup there and 1 bat, and it just took the tower. Like, there was just no defense there for Detonation Gaming.
As soon as you saw the second Lava Hound being summoned right at the 1 minute mark, you saw Detonation Gaming summoning Prince and Dark Prince. This is double Prince to make sure they just want to go on the offensive end to counter back. But that just means that they gave up on defense right away. They only relied on 1 Infernal Dragon to hopefully handle against 2 Lava. That doesn't work that way.
No, and Princes and Dark Princes cannot attack up, and I don't even know how it would be possible to attack up for those units. But they just didn't put anything down on the defense.
Yeah. So really no prioritization coming in for the defense, but we're going to go to interview, see how they felt about the games.
1勝まずできたので一安心なのかなと思いますね。なのでこれを勢いをつけてこれからも勝っていこうと思います。
2-on-2 での相手のゴーレムのバンカードでしたが、ここは予想していましたでしょうか。
いや本当に予想外の出来事だったんですけども、ゴーレムデッキも一応考えていたんですけども、ゴーレム以外のデッキも考えてはいたので、そちらの違うデッキを選択したという形になります。
ありがとうございます。そして、今回リザーバーだった、控え選手だったライキ・ジョーンズさん。
今回自分はリザーブで出てなかったんですけど、そのフチさんとみかんぼやさんがもう本当もうやばいほど練習したのが隣で見てたんで、もう後ろで安心して見てられましたね。
勝ちを確信してましたか。
もう大丈夫でしたね。
さあそしてフチ選手。
正直な話、すべてはみかん監督の指示通りだったと言わざるを得ません。すべて当たりました。なんと、はい、試合の中の指示から息も合ってて、使用デッキの選択まで、いやみかん監督が偉大でした。
選手としてそして監督としてみかん選手がすごい引っ張ってくれてます。
はい。正直、みかんさんと協力バトルやって。 試
we
合
do very
中
well
も
with
死
our
ぬほど
cooperation
心強く
and our
負ける
teamwork.
気がしませんでした。
And I'm very proud of him.
さあそして、初戦勝利しました天ゴツ選手。
And Tengas,
そうですね、
You
ル
won
イ
all
ス
your
選手は
battles?
結構過去に当たって負けたりしているので、
I have been
今
losing,
回いいリベンジの
but
機
I
会
feel
が
it's been a good revenge game
出た
today.
なと思って、かなり緊張したんですけど
I、was very
し
nervous,
っかりリベンジできてよかったと思いま
but
す。
ゲーム
I
1
made
ゲ
the
ーム
revenge, so
2
I
と同
think
じような
I
デッ
did
キで
very
した
good
ね
today.
そうですね、
Um,
信じたデッキを使って勝ったって感じですね。はい。
ありがとうございました。勝利したポノススポーツの、皆さんでした。それではこれよりマッチ2へ、移ってまいります。準備が完了するまで今しばらくお待ち。
Thank you very much, guys, for the interviews and also the translation coming through. We appreciate that. So really emphasizing the teamwork. Really proud of the way they have progressed through the week, kind of overcoming the loss they have suffered from the previous week. Now coming into week 2, looking like a much stronger team than what they initially looked like from week 1.
Yeah, they also said they credit this win to Mikan Boya, who coached them this week, and that's really important.
And we're going to see if they can continue on because we're going to go to a short break before we return for the second series of our day here in Japan. See if we can get some exciting action. We're going to get a short break. We'll be right back. Welcome back, guys, to Clash Royale League Asia. We're back after we saw the first round going over to the side of Pono Sports. The Detonation Gaming really could not pull the strength together to pick up that first win they have been looking for. Now they're on their second try. We're going to go on to see them on a third try. Of course, after suffering a loss against Pono Sports, it's not the best momentum you want to go with, but really important to see, whether they can pick up the first win. But again, it's a very difficult team here.
Yeah, this is a difficult team to try and turn your luck around against, because we saw last week that Game With were just so strong. Amaterasu, KK, and Yuhiro are here today. They're resting Shun by the look of it.
Yeah.
Which is a shame for us, because I really want to see Shun play some more, but we're not going to see it today.
Got to give that superstar a rest, especially when you feel like you can win even without him. And see how the other three players do, because it's been mostly about these two players, mostly by Shun, and really the attention has gone solely towards him. But we're going to look at Detonation Gaming again once again.
Yeah, we have Lewis, Ku, Pirameki, and Matsumoto once again. They've got to be feeling the pressure right now.
I mean, they want to just leave the group, at least with one win. They failed to do so against, talked about FAV Gaming. We also talked about them going up against Pono Sport just last game, and now they're here against, trying to do it against this really tough side we know as a Game With, one of our highest expectations for a Japanese team, according to week 1's performance.
Yeah, and Detonation Gaming just have not showed any kind of they are showing consistency, but it's not the right consistency, right?
It's the worst consistency you want to show, just losing and losing. They have done that for the second attempt and just come right off the loss, and trying to do it again for the third time. Of course, you say a lot of pressure, Simon. Of course, for this team, just trying to do it against, now we know, might be the strongest team in Japan. Game With, of course, even without Shun, they still feel like this team can get the job done and put another win on the board and make really the bipolar result of Game With having all wins, whereas obviously the Detonation game might just go out with all 3 losses.
Yeah, once again, neither team is playing anyone who's played 1v1 before. We haven't seen KK or Pirameki play 1v1 yet, so I can't really give any kind of idea of what they've played in the past. But these players have a lot more information. They've researched based on the 20 challenge, the 20 win challenge, and they've done all this extra research, probably looking at other players on the ladder. Like, if they know their in-game game attack, they follow what decks they've been playing and what decks they've been trying out. So these players probably do know each other, especially as they're at the top of the ladder as well.
You see Pirameki on the other side, seemingly very nervous about his standings right here. He's going to be representing his team to hopefully bring a victory. But victory is a war that hasn't really come about for the side of Detonation Gaming, sadly. Let's see really if they can do, because we want to just exert all the power over to Detonation Gaming so that we can hopefully support them to see their first win for them, because it's kind of sad to see. It's hard to see this team really struggling to get the job done. But we're going to see the ban cards coming from both sides now.
Yeah, Elixir Collector for Game With, not surprising, but Pirameki banning the Goblin Barrel.
Wow.
Interesting choice. I don't think we've seen a Goblin Barrel ban so far, right?
I think we've seen it once maybe, but it's so forgettable because it really doesn't signify what the current meta kind of holds, even in 1v1. You either go really heavy or you just go with all the chip damage, and obviously, yeah, the Goblin Barrel can be a part of that chip damage, but I think there's more important aspects to what you make out of a really effective chip damage comp. And like Goblin Barrel, there are other cards I would think I would prioritize if I was Pirameki. It feels like that's the biggest threat, a danger for the side of Detonation Gaming.
Yeah, 6 months ago, we saw a lot of Goblin Barrel. Like CCGS, Korea especially, there was a lot. I think there was a lot in the rest of the world, the SEA tournaments. Goblin Barrel was a very popular card, but his popularity has dropped off a cliff lately in professional games. We do not see that many barrels because it's so easily countered by a log, by as Electro Wizard, which we see a lot. Not a full counter, you still take 1 or 2 hits, but it's still a counter.
Still getting the good trade when it comes to the Elixir in and out phase when you're trying to defend against the Goblin Barrel. it is quite easily done. There are so many things that can get. You can get an even trade with an arrow even, but you can get a +1 trade with a zap. You say even a log is there, the most common way of getting out. So with those spell cards now being a commonplace with most decks now, just don't see the Goblin Barrel as much as it can be quite easily countered even if you pull the opponent by surprise.
Yeah, so I'm very interested what he was trying to get accomplished by banning the Goblin Barrel. It just seems like a wasted ban a little bit. Is there any decks that you can think of where the Goblin Barrel would be a hard counter to?
I mean, I would think that, you know, when you're trying to use a full-out Goblin deck, when we're talking about the recent Goblin Challenge that we did, kind of reminds me of what I kind of thought was a good strategy of using the Dark Goblin on the side, just putting that the main damage from the back. While you're focused on that, put the Goblin Barrel on the other side, and then you might have to use a log for a lot of the other goblins. You know, the Goblin Spears, and we talk about the regular goblins, Goblin Gang. All those things require really one of those spells that you need to knock out a Goblin Barrel in the first place. So the zap, even the log, being used to wipe out other sources of goblins. So when you can mix and match a little bit, and you've already wasted out the spell coming from your opponent that could potentially counter out. Obviously, the Goblin Barrel, you could send that out for a little bit of surprise, and maybe you take a few significant hits. Obviously, when you leave that standing by, the Goblin Barrel can do a lot of damage.
But this isn't the Goblin Challenge, is it? This is a real game, so there's just so much extra open to counter a Goblin deck, and we don't really see the super heavy Goblin decks with the Spear Goblin, Goblin Hut, Goblin Barrel, and Goblin Gang. Like, we never really see those 4 cards in the same deck in professional level matches.
Let's see, you know, what the mindset is for Detonation there. Say with Pyrameki obviously coming off a loss for his team. You know, they're moving as a unit. They're moving as a team, just suffering a loss from last week. They had to carry on that load and try to get a win. Didn't happen in that last series. Trying to get it here. You see the, you know, him just seem very nervous about his current position of, you know, the necessity of needing a win here for his team. It really takes a lot of effort to get a win for Detonation Gaming. It seems like as it's difficult to come by lately.
Yeah, clawing yourself out of the pit when you're like 0-2 facing against the strongest team, that is such a difficult climb to make. Bringing yourself back up to the level where you can play good Clash Royale. But we do see KK 19212 in blue for Game With at the bottom of the screen. Pyrameki for Detonation Gaming in red at the top.
You see a full elixir charge for both teams here. You see the Royal Ghost being the first one being summoned. You see the log just being thrown out. Partially to damage out the Royal Ghost, but mostly due to rotations here.
Bandit. Miner.
Electro Wizard survives for 1 rotation, so very good standoff there, and the Miner takes care of that relatively easy.
Yeah, Game With there have a decent advantage here, I believe, especially with the Miner coming down there and the Dart Prince didn't connect to the tower.
Taking all the damage, soaking up the damage himself, and you see the Electro Wizard trying to stop the charge coming in.
Yeah, the Royal Ghost does turn around to hit the Miner instead of the Dart Prince, but it doesn't really matter at this point because the Electro Wizard managed to take care of that little issue. And there's a Bandit again. So we see that Detonation Gaming are going for the Bandit, and luckily for Game With, that Bandit didn't charge into that tower.
Yeah, but the Royal Ghost got a few hits. More significantly, the Zap pulling out that trade, not even allowing a single attack coming in from the Electro Wizard. Gonna be rather stable between the two sides so far.
Yeah, and it seems that Detonation Gaming have about a 3 elixir advantage right now. That could be very important going forward. There's the Miner summoned at the back. Just going to walk all the way across the field instead of digging underneath the bridge.
One poke coming in from the minions, where they're gone out.
There's the poison. There's the Bandit as well. The Bandit is going to charge onto the Dart Prince. The Electro Wizard is going to clean that up, but the Miner in the back has to be cleaned up by that Royal Ghost at the back of the thing. But so much damage that Miner is doing here.
Did a lot of chip damage, about 500 or so. Just going on that one summon right there.
Yeah, but in-kind Detonation Gaming's Pyrameki does do quite a bit of damage onto that tower, but there's still so much going forward here from Game With.
Still see the poison being the effective counter against the Electro Wizard. Going up there. Even the Bandit relatively wasted, you can say. Storing down another unit into the puddle there.
Yeah, both players now drop down their P.E.K.K.A.s. Very interesting choices here. P.E.K.K.A. is going to go for the miner, and the Ice Spirit does stop Pyrameki's P.E.K.K.A. from coming forward, but there is going to be a charge from a Bandit coming soon.
Okay, the Bandit coming through and trying to just relieve the P.E.K.K.A. as the way he can. The poison putting down nicely. Now damage onto all the units here, and it's going to be onto the 1445.
Yeah, unfortunately, that P.E.K.K.A. has taken a lot of damage and will go down to the tower. That's why we see the miner being dropped, but it's not going to matter. Tower will take it down. Poison as well to chip away a little bit more of damage, but Pyrameki is in a bad spot right now.
Okay, but Pyrameki just trying to strike back. He does have a lot of units available. The P.E.K.K.A. goes down, so the Bandit trying to make the rush. The Elixir Wizard just trying to save it.
Oh, the charge connects. This is so much damage.
There's nothing you can do. 900 damage gone in an instant. Shows that Pyrameki keeping the P.E.K.K.A. alive allowed the other units right behind it, even with the slim health, to stay alive to put that enormous amount of damage in a matter of seconds.
Yeah, KK looked like he had enough there to defend, but it just died. Like there was something there 1 minute, next minute it's gone. Bandit charges into the tower, and when a Bandit charges into your tower, that is so much damage being done there.
And look what we have here. We have Detonation Gaming getting their first win on the board against GameWith. So obviously it's not the Shun that we've been hyping about this entire time over the game. The week 1 we saw, but week 2 they send out KK, hoping that he might be the one to, even without Shun, get some wins on the board. But against Pyrameki now, really a redemption time for this team. Gets that good win on the board here. But like you said earlier, Simon, I think we saw KK kind of on the leading end of things, and eventually, once the time did run out, we might have seen KK just pull out the win just by an inch at the end when it came to the time difference. But that one last push that could not be stopped by the KK there allowed Pyrameki to get that difference, to get the instant damage to get the win here.
Yeah, KK was in control 99% of that game, and the 1% where he loses control is where Pyrameki just takes the tower. Yeah. I don't want to say he threw the game, like he had such a strong advantage, but Pyrameki just kind of broke through that last little barrier to take the game.
It was a measurable difference that obviously KK will not be feeling very happy about. But someone who is very happy at the moment is Pyrameki, just about to give his team the first win of a series, and could do that if he can get another performance like that. Gonna get on to the second match very, very soon here between these two players.
Yeah, interestingly enough, if Detonation Gaming do win this, this will be the only region that doesn't have a 3-0 standout winner and a 0-3 standout last place. So it shows how close these teams are to each other.
We didn't think that way week 1, did we?
No.
You know, Simon, obviously with GameWith, we talked about Shun, and just what he did to show what Japan, what power level they're standing at. Impresses quite a bit, to the fact that there was no team that came close to GameWith in terms of competition, but we were rightfully wrong on this one, because we're seeing now Pyrameki and the gang from Detonation Gaming can put up some numbers.
Yeah,
do
both
what it
players
takes.
here playing Giant Knight decks. The decks look a little bit similar at this point in time. So we're going to see another back and forth game between these two players, where they're going to slowly eke out advantages piece by piece. Because this Prince is just 1 shot, 2 shots.
Oh, that was very close. The charge would have made all the difference in the world, and still KK on the winning end of things. Some of the Dark Prince for the very first time. Have to smash his way across past the Giant there.
Yeah, KK kept his cool. It did look like it was going to connect, but he didn't overreact and drop anything there to try and stop it. He calculated that perfectly.
Thought that little bit of elixir difference would have made a world of a difference for him, and still seeing that one goblin rush in here. Gonna go up against the Prince, so winning in now. 1 hit's going by to both sides. That the Prince coming in from KK would be good enough to pull it.
Tower.
Okay, the charge doesn't come through.
Yeah, Pyrameki is ahead in Elixir by quite a bit, actually.
Just about 4, I think, now that they're kind of even in the way it's going up.
But KK has to answer the Dark Prince here, which puts him behind in Elixir. Very interesting game here. Pyrameki is doing incredibly well at his elixir management, whereas KK just doesn't seem to be as with it today as he was previously.
Look at this poison though. He's trying to make sure the Prince gets a charge down, but becoming increasingly difficult to do so when the poison is let down. The Giant's gonna be now pushed through by the Prince here. Wonder if he can get a hit in. Zap just gonna try to push it to make sure to push it a little bit further. Giant gets about 2 punches onto the tower before it goes down.
Yeah, it is also worth noting that elixir advantage doesn't mean anything if you're not damaging the towers, which Pyrameki is not doing now, and he is behind just ever so slightly in the elixir counts.
Let's see, trade of princes there, the Dark Prince and the normal Prince, now being affected by the poison, coming in from the side of Pyrameki. Trying to stop the rush as much as you can. The poison's not going to do much damage to the Giant, so you have to be conscious. The Zap coming through. One more punch would have been the difference here. And Fireball, the last card hidden for KK. Cleanly finishes that off. So we saw what would have happened in game 1 as he was chipping away and was winning out in trades. We didn't get that surprise all-in-one attack from Pyrameki. That time around, we see KK with getting their first win here.
Yeah, Pyrameki had a 4 elixir advantage at one point in that game and then lost his advantage, ended up being at a 3 elixir disadvantage, and that just killed any defense that he could try to put down.
Yeah.
And that just makes it really difficult to come back from. When you're 3 elixir down, when it's double elixir time, that's a mountain to climb.
It really is, and Pyrameki seemingly looks defeated because it wasn't really for that last push that made all the difference, but it was the consistent build-up and the snowball that he was consistently losing out in trades, and once that builds up and up and up, you know that Pyrameki, you're on the losing end of things. As the more time goes by, eventually in overtime, you're going to end up with that one tower going against your end.
Just couldn't do it, could he? Pyrameki, first game, we're really surprised. He did play really, really well in that first game. This game, he played really, really well for the longest of times. But about 3/4 of that way through, KK just turned it up a gear and just walked through. Every push he was doing was dealing damage, whereas Pyrameki's pushes, every push he did was stopped very early on.
And it seems like Pyrameki's, all the summons that he did was mostly for the defensive end, and really just traded units just for the sake of defending out. And through that defense, we saw KK just pulling out 1 hit, 2 hits onto the tower, especially with the Giant doing a lot of damage with each punch that it did. Now we know that made all the difference over time when it came to the 3 minutes of consistently doing that for the side of KK in game with, which allowed him to get the win at the end. Seems like Pyrameki took the damage and feels like he needed a timeout there.
Yeah, the timeout from Detonation Gaming here it's needed for this team. They do need to try and get the mental state of the players to be in the right place to be able to win. Like, coming back after losing to against KK here, Pyrameki might be feeling like no matter what we do, we just can't win. As a team, like, we're just not performing well. We're not able to take a victory.
I think game 2 was the biggest indication of that because we saw very similar decks from both players. It was really just a mirror deck with Giant-centric double Prince meta and just trying to rush it in, trying to get as many punches with the Giant onto the towers, which again, it was literally the same deck. Let's obviously the same levels being in a tournament level of format. Still, we saw the trades going against Pyrameki's end. So that knowing that, you just got to get something right, and timeout was needed there.
Yeah, I think if I was Detonation Gaming after this week, if we go 0-3, I would spend the week looking at positioning.
Yeah.
Positioning is what makes and breaks defenses.
Sure.
And I think that is where Detonation Gaming are falling short, because it's not the skill on the attacks. I think it's just their overall positioning in defense. They're not having enough elixir go forward.
Let's see this. Second game. Going over to KK, meaning that this last game will decide it for either player here. And once again, defense very successful from the side of KK.
We're looking back at Pyrameki's first deck, which won him the first game, and it was an incredibly good deck, but that log.
So clean.
So much value from that log.
Wow, that was that fireball. Very hard to pull that off when you're on the offensive end of things, trying to stop the defense coming from your opponent. Very well done, and with the log to cleanly finish that off. Very nicely done by KK.
There's a Royal Ghost coming out here. It's going to find its way down to the tower unless, there we go, Dark Prince summon. That's going to soak up some of that damage from the Royal Ghost. The Royal Ghost probably will go down here because of the tower as well, and doesn't really do that much damage to the Dark Prince. It's going to continue going forward. Minor needed here on the defense.
Soaking up the damage coming from the Dark Prince, obviously. Really going to be easily swallowed up by the Mega Minion there. Once again, Zap being used just for rotation purposes.
Fireball taking out the minions. Doesn't want to see those come near the tower because they do a lot of damage, surprisingly enough. Like,
so -1 elixir trade on that instance, just to wipe out the minions and also damage a few on the tower. Not a shabby damage, obviously, coming from the fireball onto the tower.
Yeah, Bandit there charging into the Prince, making sure that no damage was done. And there's a log again. That's just a 1 elixir already, right?
It really is, and you're just talking about right now full-on elixir. What can he do with this? And see the Dark Prince taken care of relatively easily, but
this is a very strong push here coming out from Pyrameki. Will he be able to do it?
Oh,
charge
look at the
into
Bandit.
the Electro. That Bandit charge is stealing so much work.
Oh, okay, so he gets it out just barely.
But there's still a P.E.K.K.A here. That is
P.E.K.K.A
bad news bears for KK.
Oh, did he miss on the fireball on the P.E.K.K.A though?
No, he managed to just connect it, but the P.E.K.K.A has so much health.
Wow.
Minor here finishing off this tower.
200 that's
damage.
It. That's it. That's basically it for the side when he has a zap on the other end. If that does not finish him off, 11 HP and 200 will be quite easy to take off with the poison there. So if this push doesn't do it for KK, we might see Pyrameki get that first win. 5 seconds to go. What he's been waiting for this entire time. You see the smiles coming from his teammates, and you see Detonation Gaming after such a struggle for 2 weeks. You can see them picking out the first win. What this should mean for these guys. I'm sure it's much huge than what we can kind of imagine for ourselves.
That's got to be a huge relief for the team because now they finally have a W on the board.
Yeah.
Because most of their games they lost 0-2, 0-2, 0-2. This means so much to the team, and we might see this bounce forward into the 2v2, and we could see Detonation Gaming taking game with who were our favorites last week.
We've seen momentum shifts have a big effect, obviously, on teams, especially if they were struggling. And when they get a momentum shift onto a positive end of things, they can push that forward and pull off performances that we haven't seen from them before. And we might see kind of an indication of what that could mean for Detonation Gaming now picking up their first win, maybe in a very, very long time here.
Yeah, it's been so long for this team. 2 weeks, 3 games. I mean, they've got to be feeling good right now. But I'm still interested about this Goblin Barrel ban. I don't think it was targeted at all.
I mean, I have to just imagine through our heads what was going through his mind when he went to the Goblin Barrel ban. We think there are much more bans kind of susceptible to really working out for here. If he had a hard time with any other cards, then you can just ban that out instead of a Goblin Barrel. But that mystery is still closed within the seal book here until we get to find the answer over time here. But a few more instances that we might get the answer to that.
Yeah, now we're going into set number 2 at 2v2 game. We have Amaterasu and Yuiho for game with. Both these players last week were really, really strong. And we have Lewis and Ku for Detonation Gaming. Lewis we saw earlier play the 1v1. He lost 2-0.
Yep.
Ku, we've seen a little bit of Ku actually in 1v1, I think. Yeah, last week he played 1v1. He banned the Minor and was going for a Lava Hound deck.
Okay, so we're going to see these two players make their appearance. With Shun not on the field now. Just might have to miss him for the entire week here. Not get to see the superstar standoff that we saw from him, making great performances last week. And just missing out on this week here. Going to see these two players, see what they can do for a game with here.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to next week's games. It's going to be Japan and Korea next week.
Okay.
If I'm reading this correctly, right? The 11th of, yeah, the 11th.
So it's going to be on Friday.
Yeah, so we're going to be seeing these teams again next week, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday.
Yeah. See what they do here, because still we're yet to decide, who the best teams are in Japan. We thought it was game with, obviously suffering our first loss. We haven't seen from them quite a bit so far. Means that might have to do a little bit of reevaluation and a reevaluation of another team here with Detonation Gaming. No, we thought they were struggling definitely for the first weekend, having to struggle for just a little bit further against Pono Sports. Means that we kind of want to see Detonation Gaming as one of the weaker teams in Japan, but now getting a win against what we thought was a stronger team in game with. I have to just see what Detonation Gaming really has in their potential.
Yeah, it will make such a statement to the Japanese region. Like, we're not the worst team. We're not 0-3, and we just took out Game With, who a lot of players have actually been respecting. There's been a lot of talk in other regions as well that maybe the Japanese region is quite scary to go to. But if Detonation Gaming here take Game With, it shows that all these teams are relatively balanced. It's a very even competition in Japan, and that might be scary for teams from SEA and from Korea going over there, because with the team they thought were the strongest gets taken down by the team they thought they were the weakest.
We know that the three regions at play here for Clash Royale League Asia are Korea, Japan, and Southeast Asia going at each other. We're gonna get the clashes starting between the regions starting next week, but let's get the match underway here with these two teams here. Of course, Tornado Band, very expected.
Yep.
Coming in, but the Balloon Band also becoming a common house when it talks about what bands are very well seen in 2v2 matches. We see the Lava Hound and the Balloon combo work very effectively for a lot of these teams that can maneuver properly. Means that the Balloon will be out of the play on this one.
Yeah, banning the Balloon doesn't really remove the Lava Hound out of contention here. We saw last time that Detonation Gaming used the Lava Hounds with pretty good effects. They were getting very far forwards, their pushes were doing a lot of damage. But I don't know, man, banning the Balloon, I don't know what that says as the team.
For me, when I saw the Balloon bands coming through, we saw obviously the Lava Hound Balloon is the biggest example of that, but when they feel like they can defend out the Lava Hound in itself, the additional Balloon that comes in right behind that becomes such a complex mathematics to make sure you got the right defense intact to defend out both at the same time. Of course, that Lava Hound being such a slow unit, over time that the extra 5 elixirs will build up and you can summon that Balloon right behind it. And even with just a Infernal Dragon, you would just take out the Lava Hound, but that Balloon is still moving on, just ignoring all the defensive units, just going straight for the tower, making drops after drops. And we've seen that happen before from teams that can maneuver quite well. So I can understand from a perspective when you ban out the Balloon, you're just looking to focus right on the Lava Hound or maybe even other units that has to do something with the Balloon.
Yeah, we just saw Amaterasu. Yeah. He actually went 4 games last week. He ended up tying the 3rd set, going into that 4th set. He played a lot of P.E.K.K.A, a lot of mini P.E.K.K.A actually. Surprisingly enough, he played a lot of mini P.E.K.K.A. He actually played the Expo. He's played Night Witch, Dart Prince, Golems. A very big possibility here for Game With.
Still, Golem centered around decks, still very prevalent in 2v2s. We've seen that as the main support to push around, and obviously banning at the Balloon means that less Lava Hound might be seen when compared to if that card was available for both of the players here. That means that both Game With and Detonation Gaming in this 2v2 format. We're going to try to see if that's the case with Golem being centric to the deck they're building around here.
Yeah, it's a very, very good bet that we are going to see Golems because they are so good in 2v2. When you build up that gigantic damage ball behind it, and then suddenly, oh, what's that, Dart Prince? And you just see like everything just go, get out of here, and it just instantly evaporates.
Maybe what you kind of saw from the other game, just from 1v1, where we saw Pyrameki just destroy everything, 900 damage, just in a heartbeat. When you have a couple of units back in the day, and what you could see from a 2v2, if you build your Golem cast, if you can build the Golem deck just right, and you can have the supporting units right behind the Golem as it makes the rush forward slowly and slowly, you might see explosions of a Crown Tower just right away from a get-go.
Yeah, there's so much damage usually behind the golem. As you said, it just destroys Princess Towers, destroys the King's Tower.
Yeah.
I've seen so many golem pushes that take out the Princess Tower, still so healthy, and it just moves forward, continues to go on, takes out the Crown Tower as well.
Really important to see, whether they can work with this. Just trying to figure out, if they're going to be eccentric to the push here and try to get into the game to see what 2v2 can work out here. It's really important to see, what's going to be happening with these two teams. Obviously, with the two teams at Detonation Gaming currently on the winning end of things against Game With. See if they can do it here. This next match is going to be important.
Yeah, so here we are. Going into game number 1 of set 2, we have Yuriro and I keep saying Amaterasu. Why do I keep saying Amaterasu? Amaterasu for Game With, and Lewis and Ku for Detonation Gaming in the red at the top. Tombstone poisoned straight down from Detonation Gaming, not taking any of that Tombstone. Funny business here.
Trying to make that charge as effective as possible for the Dark Prince there. Could mean that you're just moving forward with it. Of course, the defensive end of the Dark Prince will get the better end of things. We're going to see the rocket right away, just really just ignoring the Infernal Dragon. Not going to have any of it. See that right away coming through.
Yeah, both teams here shutting down so much from each other. We've seen the Tombstone shut down instantly with the poison. We saw that Infernal Dragon just get completely shut down with a rocket. And here we see Golem, P.E.K.K.A. This is an incredibly elixir-heavy push coming right here.
Oh, this is all in or nothing here. Trying with the Prince to speed up the units. Even the P.E.K.K.A. to the Golem. Let's see some of the P.E.K.K.A. on the one end from the side. Yuriro and Amaterasu.
Yeah, the defending P.E.K.K.A. there for Game With. Targeted the Golem, so that means the P.E.K.K.A. from Detonation Gaming may get through here. And if that connects with the tower, it's going to do so much damage.
Oh, this might be an all-in effort that pays off for the side of Detonation Gaming. One swipe, second swipe, and that all-in connects before the Tombstone can be summoned to knock off all the attempts. So you lost the Tombstone, you lost all the attacking units, but you're feeling very happy in the way that Detonation Gaming literally just used 20 elixirs all at once for that all-in push.
Yeah, and there's been so much time between that push building up and that push connecting that Detonation Gaming mostly have their elixir back. So they could go on for round 2 here. And this 50-second mark is the last time you can push a Golem out in normal time.
There you go, pushing the units once again with the Dark Prince. The rocket being used effectively there, but only gonna knock up the shield from the Dark Prince.
The Electro is connecting with the Inferno Dragon on the defense. That means those Golems will be able to connect onto the tower again, but they are only baby Golems. So many beams being crossed here. Everything gets mopped up, but there is still that little bit of offense left for Detonation Gaming. This Inferno Dragon is going to walk up to the tower.
I don't know about that double Ice Spirit, though. That was a little bit off. Don't know if that was actually needed there. It might be just for rotation, but we're seeing the charges coming for the two Dark Prince. Charging in here.
No prisoners on the defense, instantly wiping out that Dark Prince. And the Dark Princes do connect on the King's Tower.
Wow.
Detonation Gaming, what has happened in this game? Where were you last match?
Last match and last week all together, isn't it, Simon? We see this team just on a roll here, and Game With looks baffled in the way they couldn't just defend out that first run coming in from you talking about Golem, you talking about P.E.K.K.A., you talking about the Prince just pushing him from the back, and all the supporting using as you get the elixir turnaround in. Wow, what a push that Detonation Gaming just tried to effort all in. That was an all in or nothing effort. If that did not work out, the defense coming out from Game With could have been tremendous towards the side of Detonation Gaming.
Yeah, but luckily that all-in push did wipe out the defense. If it wipes out the defense, that puts you in such a strong position that that all-in is no longer an all-in, if you get my drift. They can come back. Since the defense has been wiped out, they've got time to rebuild their army. They've got time to respond to things because now their elixir is built back up. They can cycle their cards a little bit. That is so important at that point.
Going to see a timeout calling out for Game With. I would take a time if I was their team as well. Quite a heavy hit towards the the mentality there, because that was a huge hit to take, really, coming from Game With. Really didn't expect that. Just an all-in being a very effective for Detonation Gaming means that Game With has to be better prepared once we get into the second game to make sure they avoid a 2-0 defeat that would end up in a 2-0 set defeat for Game With, which would be something that's unheard of.
Yeah, we were not expecting Game With to be challenged in this match.
Yeah.
And Detonation Gaming have just pulled out everything that they should have been pulling out last week and earlier on. They're pulling out against Game With, so it's showing that against the big teams, against the teams that we think are super strong, Detonation Gaming are pulling out all the stops. They're pulling out all the skills, all the decks, but they're not doing it against other teams. You can see they're having a bit of a, a bit of a joke and a laugh here, as you should. I don't know if you saw that, but one of the devices dropped off the podium and hit the floor. So I'm not sure if they've managed to break the device that they're supposed to be using.
I'm sure they have the highest standard and the highest quality of devices that one drop should not affect the device whatsoever. We're trying to get the best experience for the players to play at the most optimal level of Clash Royale.
Yeah, but it doesn't matter how high-end the device is, how good the device is. You drop it at the wrong angle,
Ooh.
It's gone. It doesn't matter. You could have literally a bulletproof case, but if you drop it on one specific angle, your screen just goes, it's over.
Yeah, I feel like you had that experience before.
Too many times. Too many times.
Goodness.
I've had to repair so many phones.
It's all right. But we're back to this, and we're back to us, and hopefully, where there's no big issues coming about. Seems like this camera is going back to the studio there at Japan, where the players are being stationed at to play. I should know that players will join us here at OGN once we get to the regional crossovers. And we'll have also the Korean players join the Japanese studio and also the studio in Taiwan to have a kind of crossover home and away match format for all these nations here.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to the Japan versus Korea and the Japan versus SEA games.
Yeah.
I like the idea of two different metas clashing together, and we've seen that each region has a very specific style of 1v1, very specific style of 2v2, and it's going to be very interesting to see how they clash against each other.
And how the meta clashes really, because it's going to be about the interaction between what we thought was hugely different in the way a person thinks about how to win a game of Clash Royale. Once that kind of intermeans with each other and just trying to interact to see which one comes out to be the stronger. Of course, with the difference in the individual talents that we might start to notice once the teams start to clash off, will be an exciting prospect to look at.
Yeah, I mean, one of the biggest games that I am looking forward to, Brent Esports versus Kingzone Dragon X.
Wow.
The 2-3-0 juggernauts in their division. Both these teams have been so good. I cannot wait, and it's like 2-3 weeks away.
It really is, and
it feels so far.
The best games are for the last, obviously, and Brent Esports really dominant in Southeast Asia. No one in Southeast Asia looks even close to the level that has been set by the standard of those guys coming from the Philippines. But it's about Kingzone Dragon X. From the get-go, they were expected to be the best team, holding the best player, arguably, in Korea with the Expo Master, and they're forming around just pure talent and having a good coaching staff to organize and mingle these guys together, and we've seen that success turn out in a 3-0 undefeated streak for Kingzone Dragon, and same for Brent Esports. So we could see this going either way, and that match, you say, Simon, could become very, very exciting.
But will Game With be able to bring it back and stand alongside these juggernauts at 3-0 at the top of the table? Honestly, I'm not sure. Detonation Gaming have shown today that they can play Clash Royale.
Really has, and obviously, Game With Shun and Game With without Shun has been severely different, kind of to a more of a warring extent, even in trying to see, whether that is the kind of the key figure where it makes a difference in how the team interacts with each other. I have to find out once we do get into the later weeks to see whether more appearances of Shun makes a difference in the actual results. But we're still focused on this Shun-less Game With, whether they can still hold it out against Detonation Gaming. Kind of weird to say, something that we haven't thought about as we enter this one.
Yeah, I just want to point out to people who are watching, there is some kind of delay going on right now.
Okay.
We should be in the game already, but
Yeah.
something's gone wrong. Maybe communication, maybe the
Maybe the phone drop.
The phone drop.
Wow.
It's unsure right now what's going on.
Oh, so we actually are confirmed that there is a problem with the phone. So, wow. It's kinda-
Called it.
Oh my.
But hopefully we'll be able to jump into these games. You can see their hands were off the devices. That's because they were not allowed really to touch their devices between that, because they only have a set limited time to change their decks. And it seems now that Game With are getting their timeout again, since there was a lot of kerfuffle over that phone.
So it really wasn't a fair allotted time for that single minute to have a big effect on Game With when they initially called the timeout. After that drop did happen. Of course, hoping that it didn't really affect the device too much, that this competition can still go along, but now they're going to get the timeout. 20 seconds just about left on the clock for Game With to really pick it back together, pick things up and try to move forward and hopefully have a good game against Detonation Gaming again, is what we're all hoping for a good match here.
Yeah, I'm really hoping that this extended timeout here hasn't affected Detonation Gaming, that they're keeping their focus, they're keeping their cool, and they're going to head into this as fresh as they would have if there was no break.
Right.
If there was no timeout, because it really can affect the players.
They got one more timeout. We don't know why. That's what the producer told us. Thank you, producer. We know. We're confused too, because this is basically their third timeout.
Yeah, I mean, the rules say one timeout per team per match. Game With here are just taking all the timeouts.
Sure, this was kind of approved by the directors over at the studios in Japan.
Yeah, the referees are very, very scary people. Like, if you slightly disobey one of the rules in the book, they will throw it at you, kind of thing.
I don't want the rule book thrown at me.
I
It hurt quite a bit.
Yeah, it's quite thick from what I know. So
if you get hit at the right angle, we're talking about angles here all day.
yeah, I know. You get hit at the right angle, like suddenly your head just stops working, and like you have to find a replacement head.
You know, phone can stop working, head can stop working just as equally. But you know, one more second, see if this is the last time out coming in, and we just might not be getting into the game, but we're gonna just try to hold it through to make sure we're ready to get into this game. Make sure that Game With is ready to face off against Detonation Gaming after they suffered a pretty harsh defeat. Obviously, we didn't expect this coming in from against Detonation Gaming. We thought it would be easily to take care of, but starting from that 1v1 now, the 2v2 is becoming a little bit of a troublesome when dropping games here and there for Game With. Really impossible to really see what this means, but Detonation Gaming, I wonder if we can come back from this.
Yeah, Detonation Gaming were joking and laughing just before we jumped back to us. And now we're not sure what's going on. Everyone's hands-off device, which means there's no more changes, there's no more strategy changes, no more deck changes. So these guys are locked in. We're just waiting for this game to kick up and start again.
Okay, so we're back to us.
Yeah.
So it just means like we need a little more time.
Okay, I got a question.
Yeah.
Would you rather fight 100 duck-sized horses or one horse-sized duck?
Duck, you say?
Yeah, a duck.
Okay, so 100 duck-sized horse.
Yeah, or one horse-sized duck.
Wouldn't one horse-sized duck be a little bit better?
I don't know, man. You can kick 100 duck-sized horses, but a horse-sized duck, man, ducks are scary creatures.
I mean, my legs would get tired from kicking 100 duck-sized horses. That'd be a lot of swinging of the foot, as you would say. We play football sometimes, but even kicking 100 footballs can become difficult at times. Maybe kick it for days, and comes that random question, just to trying to kill time. It's very nice, but
we're still waiting to get into this game.
What I really want is to see whether Detonation Gaming really has something in them that we haven't seen so far. That's what we want to see.
I got a different question.
All right.
Imagine if you could put 8 of the same card in one deck within Clash Royale.
Okay.
What would be the strongest deck you could think of?
That is actually a really good question.
I think Hog Rider might be a bit too much, but then you would have nothing on defense.
Sure, but
Logs? Just keep throwing out log after log after log after log.
That'd be fast. It'd be a quick rotation. It does about 80 damage, which is just about as equal as Arrow, obviously. But talk about just that, the mathematics behind that. 80 something damage for 1 long, 2 elixirs. 3 of that does about 240, right? But a rocket with a 6 elixir usage does a little more than 300, I believe, just around the same level, tournament level base. So that means, you know, you can defend out with the log, obviously, but you can defend out with the rocket as well. But maybe just with the trade of the both and just purely based on elixir, that case, you know, rocket would work. But I think units actually might be better than spells on that occasion. If you can have just the 8 cards of the same thing, and you talk about Hog Rider being an option, just literally bumped out the tower because there's nothing else to stop it. But you can also have maybe 8 golems.
I think 8 golems would be so heavy.
Yeah.
That you're only able to get like 1 golem out every what, 20 seconds, 30 seconds. So if your opponent's playing like any ordinary deck, or even if they have something like unlimited Inferno Dragons, you're never going to be able to push.
I also think of
Bandits might be a good deck. All bandits like charging in from everywhere.
Just putting it on both sides.
Put it on both sides, put 2 together, and like
okay.
I could see bandits being a good one. If you have 8 bandits in a deck, that would be ridiculously strong.
I feel like you're cheating on this one because I feel like you thought this ahead while you're just asking me on the spot.
I'm not lying. I just thought of this question.
All right. So, yeah, bandits, sure. What about 8 tombstones? How do you deal with that?
8 graveyards.
Yeah, 8 graveyards. Oh my god, that would be quite scary.
There'd be skeletons for days, and you can use a graveyard pretty well defensively
sure,
too.
Yeah. So that question was not good enough to get us into the game. We still have a few more time to kill, and hopefully we can get into this one. I feel like I was the one that jinxed it by initially saying that we might have a problem, and before even the producer told us. So we definitely do have a problem. It seems like it's been prolonging for a bit. Definitely haven't had a really delay this long without any type of reason. So there definitely must be a type of reason where we're kind of be extended over to this time without getting into the next game. So just a reminder, if you joining us just now, we saw Detonation Gaming struggling throughout the 2 weeks of play. Now this is their 3rd attempt. After 2 attempts did not go their way, ended up in a loss. This is their first, 3rd and final chance in their regionals to pick up a W on the board, and they're really close to doing that because they won out the 2v2, that one game, and then winning out the second one could give them a good win across the board, and they already won the 1v1. So just a win here could end the series without even an ace match needed.
Yeah, I really wish we'd have seen this Detonation Gaming about an hour ago when they were playing against Ponos, because this Detonation Gaming, they've looked dominant, especially in this 2v2 match. It feels like it was about an hour ago now. Like, it feels so long ago, but that 2v2 game was just so well played by both Lewis and Ku. And we've seen Lewis in 2v2. He played the 1v1 earlier. Lewis, maybe he is the 2v2 crutch, because he does have the lowest amount of trophies out of everyone. But it does look like we're about to get back into this game.
Finally, Simon, you don't ask random questions, we get into the game. That's the theory now from now on.
All right, then you ask the random questions.
All right.
Okay, game with Yuhiro and Amaterasu in blue at the bottom. Just in case you forgot, Lewis and Ku in red at the top for Detonation Gaming. We see Tombstone. There's a Dark Goblin, a very popular card in the Japanese region.
Obviously, it being cleaned away just with the one use of the log, but like you said, it literally activates as a turret, really, for the Dark Goblin. You send it from the other side.
That Mega Minion had no direction there, was just wandering around the middle, which means it does get quite far forward and gives decent amount of elixir return there for Detonation Gaming.
Okay, we're going to see the Golem being summoned by the side of Detonation Gaming, but it's going to be countered by the Pekka to stop it in its tracks.
Yeah. Fortunately as well, the Golems did push Pekka out of the range of that Inferno, but at the bottom right of the screen,
Graveyard Poison.
So much damage coming out from that combo. 9 elixir there, dealing just under 1,000 damage.
We saw Game with trying to counter that with just the Bat Summon, but we know how that goes when you have the Graveyard Poison. Bats are gone in an instant, and so is so much of the HP now for Game with, and Detonation Gaming once again very dominating. The fact that they kind of used the golem as a scapegoat, really, just to provide the distraction, and they put out the graveyard and poison when all the defensive units were invested into killing off the golem, really leaving Game With to not really have anything else to defend out against such a strong push there.
Yeah, that rocket did connect with the tower, taking it down to 2100, and the golem push now coming forward for Game With. Will this connect in the way that it needs to connect here for Game With? 1 hit, 2 hits. Yes, it is. This golem is dealing so much damage to that tower.
Still has yet to explode for all 2 of them there. You can see the 844, the final count. As we see the rush coming in now from Detonation Gaming. Let's see that another poison and graveyard combo once again.
And look how quickly that tower is defended. The Dark Prince is undamaged. It hasn't lost his shield, just lost his shield. Whoa, Dark Prince getting connected onto that tower without losing its shield at all.
That was a surprising way of defending out against the graveyard poison combo. He sent out the P.E.K.K.A. A very slowly attacking unit.
Doesn't move very fast.
No.
Not the kind of card you need. But on the other end, that tower for Detonation Gaming does only have 112, and we know that Game With have that rocket, so that tower is dead when it needs to be.
Oh, we're gonna see it again. The graveyard poison really has been rivaled out quite well.
Where's the rocket? There's a miner. Does finish it off in time with the poison as well. But the push here from Detonation Gaming is so strong. Golem's connected, poison's connecting.
Oh my goodness, and goes to overtime just in the moment of nick of time. And Detonation Gaming, what a play coming in from both sides. That golem push cannot be stopped. We talked about the first graveyard poison combo. Detonation Gaming, you see them on the winner chart for the very first time. Really good to see them on there.
This completely opens up the Japanese region. Detonation Game With 2-1. Detonation Gaming 1-2. Fav, if they win today, they'll be 2-1 as well.
They'll be 2-1.
So close. Every team here can beat anybody. Why wasn't Detonation Gaming this good in the first match today?
First match today, and first match of week 1 you talk about. Detonation Gaming has been rather disappointing in the mistakes they made. It's not about the other team overdoing to kind of go overcome what the Detonation Gamers were trying to bring out. It was more of Detonation Gaming making these very critical mistakes at key moments that costed them very serious games, and we've seen that leading on to more games losing, more games losing, and that eventually became losses all around for the very first game of week 1, and now the very first game of week 2. Now they come back to a mistake-free Detonation Gaming that seemed very much an overhandle for the side of Game With.
Yeah, whatever Detonation Gaming's coach did between match 1 and match 2 today, he deserves a raise.
Yeah.
No matter how much they're paying in, double it, because whatever he said to the team during that break completely transformed this team from just an okay team to a really good team.
Have an interview now?
Detonation, congratulations. Let's hear words from them. How do you feel about this win? Now, I feel very relieved. But the first game against Ponos wasn't very good and we lost. So I was very sad, but I was able to make up for it.
ゲームイズ対戦相手のゲームイズは日本戦今のところ2連勝で勢いのあるチームでしたがどのような対策してきたんでしょうか。
So what have you planned against this team? So we watched past games before and we made strategies against what they were weaknesses.
それでバルーンバンが刺さるんじゃないかと思ってみんなで話し合った結果バルーンバンということで、しっかり2 on 2で勝利を決めていきました。おめでとうございます。
Congratulations and thank you.
さあそして松本選手。
Matsumoto.
そうですね。監督の分析力とあと
And the coach's strategy observation and studies.
もう出たとてもいい試合だったと思います。
I think is what made us win today.
やはりこう松本選手が今回デゾネーションゲーミング最年長ということなんですけれども、監督が引っ張っていっているチームなんでしょうか。
So is the coach leading the team? The information that the coach has is always accurate, and his leading is very helpful in our winning strategies.
してコウ選手。
And Ku,
感想をお願いいたします。
how do you feel about today?
自分ゴーレムがすごい得意ということで。
The golem, very good with the golem.
監督にその防衛などは任せて自分が。
And I was able to trust my teammate making the strategies during the game.
成功したんじゃないかなと。
And I think that was successful. 1-on-1 versus 2-on-2 golem plan is different. Yes, it is. My teammate needs to protect me. And the teammate different. It's very different. It doesn't work. So. And I think the practice made it our win perfect today.
2-on-2 で勝利をもぎ取ったということですね。ありがとうございます。そしてピラメキ選手。
And Hirameki.
1マッチ目のポノス戦で正直
against Ponos.
ストレート負けしてしまって
I had a straight lose, which I was very disappointed in.
切り替えなきゃいけないんですけど。
So I needed to make a revenge.
って感があって、まあ1戦目も僕ですし。
But I pulled myself up.
なんとか相性もいいのして。
And I was able to make a win.
なんとか勝つことができて、で。
And our teamwork went well today, so we were able to win. So you lost the previous game, and it was your first, but you did the first game. There was a lot of pressure on you. How do you feel? I was very nervous, but I was able to somehow pull it up.
That
was the interview coming in. Very nicely done by Detonation Gaming. I know that how much this means for them to finally pick up a win. Obviously, a 0-3 record book and a 1-2 looks very different when you go out in regionals in a more of a successful role.
Yeah, it's incredibly different for your mentality, the way you're going to be playing in the next week. But I just want to say, I was looking through some of the player information. Matsumoton's motto, fall down 7 times, stand up 8. Perfect
wow.
motto for this team right now because they fell down. Yeah, they fell down 7 times.
They did.
They stood up on the 8th time. They should be going home happy tonight.
Never give up attitude. It's the kind of the summary of that motto. And let's see, they're feeling very good with Detonation Gaming finally picking up a win. But we're going to go into a short break to see if we can get the last series underway. So we're going to get this short break. We're going to be back with Japan's last series of the day. Welcome back, guys, to Clash Royale League Asia as we're covering the Japanese region for today's matches. We've gone through 2 rounds so far, and now we're on to the very last series against the Ponos once again to see if they can handle it against FAV Gaming. Kind of an unknown standings when it comes to the skill level differences between the 2 teams so far.
Yeah, FAV Gaming last week looked really, really good. Ponos Gaming looked okay.
I mean, they beat Detonation Gaming, and Detonation Gaming beat Gaming, so it's all over the place when it comes to the power rankings. How can we really keep the one team over the other just in absolute terms? We just really can't at this point.
Yeah, so as we see here, we have Mikambuya, Fuchi, and Reiki Jones. I might have made a mistake on my thing here. But yeah, those 3 guys are going to be playing in the 2v2 and the 1v1 game against FAV Gaming. We're waiting to see FAV Gaming's profile here. As you can see, we have Rad, Kensumeshi, Oz, and Yakitori. Interesting amount of trophies here for these teams.
6.6, 6.4, 6.1 to another 6.4 means that they're quite good. That's the first indication we get, but talked about the relationship between trophy count to the innate skill level and the way they pulled off the actual results in competitive play does not directly match. So just take that into consideration when you see the trophy count. It's just the process that, yes, they're good enough to become pro gamers, obviously. But on the opposite end of things, if you see someone with a 4-point-something K for something, you just don't automatically say that, oh, this person's not that good. Maybe I can get something 4.3K, whatever, and I can become pro again. It's not the case. You just have the discipline, the amount of practice, and the way you can strategize against different teams. It's the one that's the important part to really keep our eyes on here.
Yeah, and today's first set between Ponos and FAV Gaming will be Reiki Jones versus Ken Sumeshi. I'm excited for this, but neither of these players have played 1v1.
It's really interesting to see what we can expect out of the players from here, because it's all about first appearances, a first look at what both of these teams can do with these players on the line. And FAV Gaming obviously won their first game against Detonation, which we thought was a kind of a weaker team coming forward. Now we're been proven wrong. Them beating Game with changes up, stirring up the entire standings when it comes to competition here in Japan. But FAV Gaming, they won their first one, but they lost against Game with pretty handedly on that one occasionally as well.
Yeah, last week in the first set, FAV Gaming looked incredibly strong. In the second match they played that day, Game with made them look incredibly weak.
Yeah.
And now that we've seen Game with drop to Detonation Gaming, there's no way we can make a prediction here.
It wouldn't be the right prediction to go forward with, obviously, because it seems like you can win to one team quite easily, but you lose to another team that you didn't expect just as handily. And now that's all into play, we can't really make a correct prediction about which team is currently better at this stage of the tournament, because everything could change result-wise, you know, as the time goes by.
Yeah, it could also just be the type of decks that each team brings in. Maybe Detonation Gaming's decks are just not that good against like Ponos decks, but they're really good against Game with decks.
Sure.
So that could definitely be a thing. The way they play, the decks they bring, could definitely be a reason why we see this rock, paper, scissors style here. And we see an Expo ban.
Okay.
From Ponos.
That's niche.
We've seen a lot of Expo bans in Korea.
Against Expo Master, obviously.
Exactly. So it's not a rare card, but Three Musketeers ban, usually you can do a good job of banning Three Musketeers by just banning the Elixir collector.
Yeah,
so, interesting choices.
That's definitely on the padding when you talk about just banning Elixir collector is an answer, just to ban out the essentially that kind of a relatively unusable Three Musketeers with the 9 Elixir it needs to just summon that 3 units down on the field. You can split it, basically have power on both sides, one could say, but definitely Musketeers have been on the power end of things only if the Elixir Collector is in place. So, you know, bans it out directly this time around from FAV Gaming with Ken Sumeshi, but Reiki Jones feels like the Expo is the one thing that has been troubling him in the past, and whether or not Ken Sumeshi is a regular user at the Expo, he feels like the ban is worthy this time around.
Yeah, I know you play a lot of Expo.
I'm a big Expo fan myself.
What type of decks do you easily beat where if we had this global ban system, your opponent would have banned it?
I think Expo goes really bad against the Golem deck, really, because you can just put the Golem right in front of the range where the Expo can cross, and obviously Expo will not be able to kill out a Golem. It's just impossible. It just doesn't have enough damage, and the low damage chart, even with the very fast attack speed, doesn't get it done.
Yeah, but I mean, he's banned the Expo, so his decks must be weak against Expo. So what is Expo strong against? That's what I mean to say, yeah.
Okay, so usually a lot of feeble decks because, you know, from my perspective, obviously I'm not a competitive player. I'm just a casual player who likes to use Expo. But for me, Expo is just good at damaging out. Just if you can get a situation, if you can make a condition to make sure the Expo keeps hitting the tower without getting interrupted, that's the biggest thing. So a person that would use a very lightweight deck, you can wipe it out with zaps, you can wipe it out with arrows, you can wipe it out with fireballs, and all these other spells that can go through to really wipe out all these little menaces, try to just interrupt the time and just kill out the Expo over time. So other than that, I just feel like the Expo really is a really hard one to pull out, especially in competitive play where we see a lot of heavy decks very well pulled off there.
So do you think the Expo ban here is valuable for Raiki Jones, or do you think maybe he should have tried something else? Like,
I mean, the Expo ban can mean multiple things. And just, you know, some people ban something where they feel like literally if you have nothing else to ban, you just ban something to make it just a statement for yourself that, you know, there's no really a ban that I need. And Expo just making of a lower value ban feels like that's the way to go. But, you know, you talk about what Three Musketeers mean at the same time as well, because the 9 elixirs being summoned, you can split onto 2 to 1. That's what most people do with that those cards over there, and it almost serves as the same purpose where it can be easily countered if you can get that right with the Three Musketeers. But when used correctly, it can be a very valuable card. So, you know, once we see a very rich history of Ken Sumeshi, maybe using the Expo that we are not aware of, that could be a reason behind the story of that ban coming through for this particular situation.
Yeah, banning Three Musketeers, I feel like that means he's going to go very air heavy. Maybe we're going to see Lava Hound Balloon, because Three Musketeers does kind of clean that up pretty quickly. Very expensive cleanup, but it cleans up.
It's a very heavy duty worker as well when it comes to even the ground units. You talk about Golem, any other supporting units behind it can be wiped away quite quickly by the Three Musketeers if you just summon it at the middle of the ground behind the Golem's defense. And, you know, there's so many ways to utilize that really powerhouse of the Three Musketeers, using it at full force. Could see what that means though once we get the games underway with the first game here. A bit of hellos going for both sides here with Ken Sumeshi and Raiki Jones. With Raiki Jones finding a little bit of anger towards a fair handshake there.
Yeah, maybe he just doesn't like the idea of spamming emotes before games. Maybe he has auto-mutone when he's playing on the ladder. But we do see Raiki Jones in blue at the bottom, Ken Sumeshi red at the top. Goblins, Spear Goblins down, and Ice Golem not really revealing too much of their decks in these early stages.
So really Goblin heavy already. We can see for Ken Sumeshi as we see the Spear Goblin and also the Goblin Gang being put into play.
That Mega Minion is going to easily take down the Ice Golem and the Goblin Gang. Bats coming in. Bats. Oh, there we go. Ken Sumeshi dropping that balloon with the Miner in front, but that Tombstone does happen to drag it all the way across.
Oh, but the problem is the balloon is not taking any damage from the Princess Towers, and really now it's starting to take damage because all the damage was going towards the side of the Miner, and does end up putting a drop. The explosion damage with it also, so Ken Sumeshi very successful on that first balloon summon.
But Raiki Jones was also incredibly successful with that Hog Rider. He got pretty much every hit possible. I think it was 4 or 5 hits onto that tower. So that tower also isn't looking particularly healthy right now. Both players are kind of injured after this initial kind of footsie time.
Really is, and seeing what they make out of it in a both-way encounter. The Ice Wizard not really looking towards the way of the Miner, forcing Raiki Jones to summon that Mega Minion, using extra elixir to get that done.
Not very good there for Raiki Jones. That Ice Wizard ideally would have turned around, but we do get 1 hit on the Hog Rider. 2, and the Bats do manage to take it down, but it has evened this game out just that little bit more.
Oh, balloon on the left side now. I think it's still going to be swayed away by the Tombstone.
No, it's not. No, it's not. It's going straight for the tower.
Oh, the Ice Wave just trying to slow it down, but the one drop is still not going to be stopped. Second drop. Oh, it doesn't come through. That would have made all the difference there, and still one drop plus an explosion does still a quite amount of damage.
Yeah, that Hog Rider. Hog Rider again getting multiple hits, and the poison might just take that tower down up there.
79 down to 52. That's going to be the final count before we go down. Basically, any type of log even could wipe that away. So that left tower is secured now for Raiki Jones, but he has to defend both of his towers that are both in danger at the moment. The King's Tower being unlocked here by the Miner, as we see. That log falls short. Yeah, he's not even going to go for it right away. So just going to look for a later game. Miner coming in, trying to put some damage onto it. Tornado coming in again, only to slow it down, but still going to continue to do damage.
There's the log. That finishes it that time.
So he waited for the overtime. So, wow, what a pesky play coming in. You thought that being heavily damaged on both sides, you would think that you were just going to stall out the time, but the time was over when you got that rotation going and going. You got that log back to get that free damage. 52 is really much an easy handling for the log in the end.
I feel like he was playing with a little bit of fire there, because with both towers so heavily damaged and that big push coming in, not finishing that tower as quickly as he could could have really hurt him. If that first log had just, taken out the tower, he could have been, okay, so whatever happens now, I'm going to overtime. But leaving it so late, half a second on that deployment of that log could mean the difference between a draw or a loss.
But it also could have been from his defense. We talked about that log, the first log that didn't reach all the way to the tower. It was strictly just for defense. And maybe that one line that could have been ignored just to get the tower under play, that could have been the left tower going down as well. So in his defense, that might have been the optimal way to do it. He knew the rotations were pretty quick since he had a very lightweight tech to work with. Even with trying to how that worked around and seeing if that was the answer to go in. And seems like still good enough to get that first win, but very risky play, as you say.
Yeah, with both towers solo, anything is risky. Because that push, if that push had to come on the other side, we might have seen a different result, because there would have been a lot of units there that would have soaked up a lot of the damage, thinned out the push. Maybe they should have just moved onto that side where the weaker tower is. They had that other tower was full health.
Yeah.
They could have risked having a few hits against that, moved their push onto the opposite side, and maybe we'd have seen a different result here. Ken Sumeshi maybe should have moved that attack.
Ken Sumeshi could have been very successful if all the attack was shifted on one side, but Raiki Jones just focused on one side and one side only, and that turned out to be the difference maker when it came to him winning out. Raiki Jones still angry, supposedly, even after getting that win. So Ken Sumeshi scared of his frustration coming through from his opponent.
Yeah, both players just spamming out those emotes at the beginning of the game. I guess it's a way to keep your fingers nice and warm at the very start of the game.
Keep your mentality warm as well. That helps you as well.
I don't know. Someone emoting me in game usually throws me on a bit of a tilt. So if you ever see me in ladder, throw down some of those emotes.
Oh, look at this. Elixir Collector coming for the very first time in today's games. That could mean a heavy deck on the way. Battle Ram going all in.
Such a strong push here.
Okay.
Battering Ram connects. There's the fireball taking out all the
very nice.
So much damage.
There's going to be no defense coming in from the side of Ken Sumeshi, and he thought just the elixir, obviously with the elixir being planted, he had to have a defensive strategies on the backup. But you saw all he had was a minion horde. Was easily countered by the fireball.
Yeah, and Ken Sumeshi's defense here just coming up to that tower and just instantly dying. What a meat grinder.
That's right a huge loss right there. That could snowball really hard towards the late game. And now Ken Sumeshi really needs to look for a miracle to pull back from this one.
Yeah, Raiki Jones now can just sit back and defend quite a lot here. But these players usually don't defend. They're going to keep going. They're going to push for 2 crowns. They're going to go for 3 crowns. So it's going to be interesting to see the rest of this game. But that tower went down in less than 50 seconds.
Another Elixir Collector. Wonder what he's thinking here.
You can see his teammate in the back. Go, 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 go. You know, you've got this. This is going to do it. Go, go, go. He played that Elixir Collector. Very greedy play playing that Elixir Collector.
Even that ram coming through. The charge comes through, and that's going to be still more damage being put on there. Even the Fireball collected onto the Elixir Collector, putting out more damage. Not much Elixir plan to be connected here for the side of Kentsumeshi.
Yeah, I feel like Reiki Jones should have had that Fireball connect more on the units and taken this Elixir Collector hit, because the Elixir Collector isn't really doing much for Kentsumeshi at this point in time.
Still making sure, like that golem he's trying to summon now, would be less effective if you knock off the Elixir Collector relatively earlier here.
And there's a battering ram on the opposite side and a Goblin Gang behind it. That's a very strong push in and of itself. Fireball, perfect nice fireball. Yes. But now the minion horde comes in. They're going to get slowed down by that ice golem, but there's still a lot there.
But look at this minion horde. Can this be stopped here? It doesn't seem like he has any type of direct counter against it, but taking minimal damage on both sides here. 817 is the core count with one tower already gone. He's been so behind Kentsumeshi. I don't think he's going to come back in 3 seconds. That will be a good game call preemptively, knowing that he was facing defeat ever since that first tower went down.
Wow. What a push. What a deck there from Reiki Jones.
Wow.
Everything in that game went right for him.
It was easy to get startled when you saw the Elixir Collector, knowing that your opponent is planning something very, very huge. But Reiki Jones did not startle at all. He was ready to send in all his units onto one side, knowing that his opponents cannot have a defense that would block all of them. He thought the minion horde, Kentsumeshi, was the answer to all of those units coming forward. But Fireball was ready to knock it off in an instant. Plus one Elixir trade with all those units still coming out with no more defense for Kentsumeshi to work around that.
Yeah, it's so easy as a player to see Elixir Collector fireball it, Elixir Collector fireball it. Everyone gets into this pattern. But Reiki Jones there was just like, no, I'm just going to save it. Let him have the Elixir. I'll take his tower. You know, Elixir Collector is that kind of investment.
It is.
You're going to get more Elixir back by the end, but you are investing your Elixir. If you can have such a heavy push, save that fireball to defend it, we see what happens.
Absolutely crazy, because we saw 6 Elixir being used, not even in overtime, in the regular 1 times Elixir match. And once you already use a 6 Elixir, you're already down any type of defense opportunities. When your opponents go for an all-in push, you already saw what could happen when you give up your minion horde. The 5 Elixirs being used, just barely summoning it out after the Elixir Collector had been summoned, means that once the minion horde is gone, you have nothing else to defend with.
Yeah, and keeping the fireball for that minion horde is honestly a great, great move that we don't see enough players really do. Because, as I said, the temptation is there just to get rid of the Elixir Collector.
I agree. That's something I would usually do when I see an Elixir Collector. I throw my rocket down there, throw my lightning down there. I would not even think about, firing back. But that is a creative way to fire back to your opponent who is 6 Elixirs short without really gaining anything initially.
It's just, as I said, everything there went right for Reiki Jones. And he did make one of the best decisions we have seen so far, which is fireballing that minion horde. But we're going to get into the 2v2. That 1v1 is done. It's time for the 2v2. We're going to have Fuchi and Mikamboya versus Yakitori and Rad. We saw Rad quite a bit last week, actually. Rad played both the 1v1s against Detonation Gaming, and he played against Game With, where we saw him play 4 sets because of that tie. This guy does like his golems.
And golems do play a big part when it comes to the 2v2 matches. We can see that once again, if FOV Gaming feels like the golem is a way back from this defeat that could face if this match did not go to their way, and really could be so. We talked about FOV Gaming impressing us for the first part of week 1, but losing quite handily against Game With, of course, with Shun in that lineup, looking very easy for their opponents to beat them out. But other than that, FOV Gaming, we still thought they were a middle-class team that could put up a fight against most of the teams here in Japan. But now against Pono Sports, seems like that 1v1 was a struggle for Kentsumeshi to really pull off any type of winning potential against his opponent there.
Yeah, and this is going to completely, if Pono Sports wins this completely changes the standings that we had coming into today. Pono Sports was 0-1. Fav Gaming were 1-1, I believe.
Yeah.
Yeah. We would expect Pono Sports to have 1-2, Fav Gaming to take the win here, be 2-1 up. That's kind of what we expected. But Reiki Jones there just took control of that game. And if they can continue that into the 2v2, which we've seen a lot, we haven't really reached that many kind of ace matches in Japan region. It usually finishes set 1, set 2, done.
Really, really clean for all the matches. We appreciate it because we get to run through the progress and really talk about which team is more dominant. We get a better picture of that. But what we don't appreciate is it happens to different teams at different times. We don't know which teams are stronger anymore because we get mixed results of this team bit this team really, really handily. But the next result we come about, the team that lost quite handily wins against a very strong team just as heavily. And we just don't know the kind of the A is greater than B is greater than C. We don't know that formula anymore.
If you'd have told me last week that Pono Sports could possibly be finishing the same score as Game With,
wow,
I'd probably call you crazy. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
I would not expect that at all.
Yep.
Yet that is definitely the possibility here. They are in such a good position going into this 2v2 that they could end on the same score as Game With.
Game With. They were not supposed to be compared with any other team in Japan. That is what I told you last week, but I have lied to you because now we're seeing very good competition from all the Japanese teams, and that does not exclude Pono Sports here. We're going to see the bands coming through. We're going to see the Tornado, very obvious one for most of these 2v2 games. It's going to come from Fav Gaming, but the balloon coming on the side. Now it's becoming a little bit more of a trend to see a little more of the balloon and the tornado combo coming through bands on both sides.
Yeah, if you're superstitious at all, these same bans happened. Game With versus Detonation Gaming. Game With banned the tornado. Detonation Gaming banned the balloon. And we know who won that game.
Oh, yeah.
The team who bans the balloon. So this could mean, if you are the superstitious type, my friend, that Pono Sports are going to take this set.
You know what? Over the 2 weeks that we've casted over the Japanese region, we have not seen a single pattern of anything. We might see the very first pattern if we see Pono Sports win out this one with a balloon ban. Balloon ban wins you games. Maybe that's the first sign of theory of a pattern we can create here.
You know, I really hope now that that Fav Gaming win this 2v2 and just completely throw any kind of prediction out of the way for the Japanese region.
What does knowledge mean? It doesn't really mean anything.
Predictable is boring.
Oh, come on. Let's talk about information. What is information in 2018? It doesn't mean anything. You know, we try our best to find the best information for you guys so we can at least try to predict what is about to happen, comparing the teams side by side, comparing from A to B to B to C, to see which team is superiorly the better. We try, and we keep trying. Right now, we have no idea. From Japan, you just don't know which team is stronger than the other.
It makes it so much better, though.
It does.
Going into the games, not knowing who is stronger, who is weaker, that makes it so much more exciting. We'll be sitting here on the edge of our seats during this whole game. And we do have 1 minute 30 left of this retinkering period.
We know that this is the beginning of the 2v2 period between these two teams after Pono Sport did pick out a win against Fav Gaming here on that 1v1. Thanks to Reiki Jones pulling off a very comfortable win against Ken Tsumeshi. Now we're here in this 2v2. Fav Gaming, I'm sure the only thing they're looking for here is a win on their end of things.
Yeah, look at Rad's stats there. He's played, what, 1 week, 2 games? 3 wins, 2 losses, and a tie.
That's a lot of games.
3-2-1. Yeah, he's played 6 games compared to everyone else who's probably played 4, maybe 5.
Yeah.
It's insane.
Absolutely. So he's had to go through struggles and uphills to get to where he is now, picking up a win for his team and also suffering a loss as well. So mixed results for this Fav Gaming squad so far. They're having mixed results right now. Getting off to a loss against Reiki Jones in that 1v1 means that, you know, losing another one could get them another loss, which would be a 1-2 record that we thought Fav Gaming wasn't represented by.
Yeah, to me, even now, hearing that Fav Gaming might finish 1-2 doesn't feel right.
It doesn't.
From last week, they were like really, really strong.
I agree.
Yeah, they lost to Game With, but Game With looked really, really strong then. But both of these teams Game with lost to Detonation Gaming. We weren't expecting. Fav Gaming going down against Ponos.
It doesn't make sense.
No, what is going on, Japan? Please, calm down. Be predictable. It makes our lives a little bit easier. Less exciting, but easier.
But you know what? This unpredictability of what the Japan region is bringing to us, it just brings about kind of excitement to our every broadcast we cast about this region. It just makes it more exciting to really not have any really answers to what we can go in with. And just the question marks become that much more enthusiastic in the way we can just expect great things from both teams.
It is worth noting here that Yakitori is making his debut now. This is probably his first time under the camera lights, and that could really, really affect a player, especially in 2v2 where communication is key and you see those giant bright lights in your eyes. It can confuse you. Definitely.
For a lot of these teams and a lot of these players, it is their first time ever to be in a competitive pro environment, meaning that they may have played a lot of casual and ranked Clash Royale games, but in a game where it matters and prize money is on the line, and the pride of your country and the pride of your team as a nation to represent your country is all the line, it makes a huge amount of difference.
Okay, so as we see, both these teams are starting off with very normal kind of moves. We usually see that Tombstone come out. We usually see the Miner come out, but Mikambuya and Fuchi, Ponos Esports in the blue at the bottom, have played that Lava Hound to slowly push up the top. But Rad and Yakitori have played a Golem and that Inferno Dragon from the top.
The Inferno Dragon's a goner with that rocket right there. The Lava Hound is consistently pushing due to the lack of the Lava Hound there. That's just going to be on the offensive end of things. The Lava Hound on the other end. Ponos Esports is not going to be countered quite as easily. I mean, it's really important for them to somehow find the attack back. Because right now, Fav is taking quite a hit coming from the Lava Hound initially.
Yeah, we can kind of see why that Dark Goblin is so popular in the Japanese region, because it did do a really good job against the Lava Hound and the Lava Pups, taking them out in 2 hits.
And it's interesting to see that the Lava Hound was a choice that Ponos Sports made while banning the Balloon. We usually like to see the 2 cards go hand in hand, but now we're seeing one of the key puzzle pieces of the game being knocked off by your own team.
It's probably because they know that a Lava Hound Balloon is weak against a Lava Hound Balloon. You don't have usually as much air defense when you're playing this Lava Hound Balloon deck. Maybe you could throw in a Mega Minion, maybe you could throw in minions, but anything else is usually a little bit too expensive to play with the Lava Hound and the Balloon together.
See the Dark Goblin ranging from afar, not going to have much trouble to knock down the rest of this Inferno Dragon here. You can see the Lava Hound being summoned twice here. So both players holding the Lava Hound, summoning both now. Becomes twice as difficult to solve here. We know the Inferno Dragon is not going to be answered because he has a rocket ready. Ponos Sport definitely has the defensive end covered. Just trying to see the offense at the other end of things from the side of Fab here. It's 30 seconds before we get to overtime.
It looks as though Fav Gaming are sacrificing that top right tower for this big push down on the left, but it's not going to be enough. The Golem split really early. Prince drops. Everything is going wrong here for Fav Gaming.
They had the perfect answer. 2 Lava Hounds. The only way we can stop that is the Inferno Dragon, but they already had the answer for the Inferno Dragon by having a rocket ready to go.
This is really well done by Ponos, controlling the pace
of
that game from the first second. Insane here. Really, really good play by Ponos. We're probably going to have a timeout, I'm guessing, before it's even shown on the screen. I'm going to guess Fav are going to have a timeout.
That's a timeout needed game right there, because the moment they sent out the Lava Hound, you're like, we got the Inferno Dragon. We can take care of this. It's not easy pickings. And it's a 3 elixir trade out. Obviously, we know with the 7+4. But rocket was ready to go. And because of that, you know what's going to be happening in timeout. As you predicted, as we predicted, it's definitely happening, because that was a huge blow to the head when you talk about you thought you had the win with the counter, with the Inferno Dragon, but when you get hit by the rocket right away, that's when your mentality goes out.
Yeah, they really need something now. This coach needs to whisper sweet nothings into their ears
no.
to get them to concentrate, to build up their morale, because they're probably shaken after that game. That game was such a walkover for Ponos Sports here that, I mean, you can see in Rad's face. We saw it last week. He was all smiles.
Yeah.
Even when he lost to, I think it was Shun.
Sure.
Was it Shun?
It might be.
I can't remember who Rad was playing. Oh, it was against Game With. I'll double check. I think it was Shun.
Yeah.
Even though he lost, he was still all smiles.
Yeah.
Right now, he looks broken.
He looks stressed.
He looks stressed out, yeah.
But you know what it is, though? Fuchi and Mikan Booya, they were steps ahead in the way they prepared their decks against, Rad and Yakitori. Rad and Yakitori were at stage 1 of thinking, of the thought process. But Fuchi and Mikan Booya already at stage 2 and stage 3, way past them, already knowing what to do if they figure out a counter to their current deck.
Yeah, it seems that, Ponos Sports are playing chess while Fav are playing checkers.
Yeah, exactly.
Here. They were, as you said, always ahead of the game. They knew what was coming out.
Wow.
So you have, as Fav Gaming here, you have to make a change in your decks, right?
This is a little bit off topic here, but I just might try that deck. Lava Hound and Rocket in the same deck? What else do you counter with?
But they might not have been in the same deck. It might have been one player was... Oh, no, both players had the Lava Hounds because we saw 2 at a time.
So at least one of the player must have had the Rocket in hand while the other player had the Lava Hound. We've been playing 2v2 right before this cast began. We could try that out.
We could, yeah. Probably better than Expo Golem decks that we've been playing,
It got us some wins, man. It got us some wins.
It got us some very emphatic wins, and we also had some very emphatic losses.
Definitely a losing chart on both ends, but we were just going for the crown chest anyway.
Yeah. Which today rewarded me nicely with another legendary.
There we go. We got the big announcement on that. He got a legendary off a crown chest. Big congrats over to Simon, but...
To be fair, I have been playing for a very long time, and I feel like that's the first time that's happened.
Hey, it happens once. It happens to none of us sometimes. You're the lucky man today. Focus on the present. Worry about the future tomorrow. This is a situation where, Ponos Sports definitely are thinking of the present right now, feeling very good about the way they controlled the 1v1 now onto the 2v2. They manhandled their opponents right now with Fav Gaming.
Are they going to be able to do it again?
It's just beyond me. Obviously, Fav Gaming called the timeout to, at the least, prevent that from happening again. From getting manhandled by Ponos Sports. But you never know. Maybe they have just another step ahead of thought process that they already thought in their head. We know that, we're going to break their mentality just with that Rocket blowing up the Infernal Dragon, that they're going to be so tilted that we're going to have to call a timeout. Maybe they even expected that part. And after that, not because they called the timeout, I know what we're going to do, right after that play. It's just so impossible to predict now.
Are you trying to say that Ponos Sports has like a psychic on their team? Someone who can read tea leaves and, manage the future?
Crazy things have happened in Japan already. In this region, it has been a crazy run of 2 weeks, and we're down to the very last series in this region to see who the best teams are. And so far, we just don't know the answer to that.
Yeah, so we do have Ponos Sports, Mikan Booya and Fuchi in blue at the bottom. Rad and Yakitori for Fav Gaming at the top of the screen. And we can see that Fav Gaming have gone for a Golem push again.
Lava Hound.
Didn't work well last time, though.
The Infernal Dragon. Will he have the Rocket again? Oh, my goodness. Again.
Are we watching a replay right now? Because this is exactly
second Infernal Dragon. Second Infernal Dragon. What's going to happen here, though? Aha!
Still, a lot of damage to that tower is happening, even with that Inferno Dragon on the defense.
And the Golem's taken care of on the left side.
But there is another Golem played down now on the other side, but it is pulled in by that Tombstone again. I don't know if this Golem is wearing glasses, but his sight range is huge.
Oh, another Tombstone being put down as well, so distracting the Golem, and the Dark Prince once again just buying more time for the side opponent Sports to make the defense. Barely any damage taken from the blue side here.
However, that Inferno Dragon is still standing. There is still a Golem in front, so it is going to connect.
Oh, that's not a good counter, boy. That's not a good counter to go up against another Inferno Dragon. That's going to get down to 130. What a painful take from Ponos Sports there.
As you can see, you leave that Inferno Dragon and a tower alone, and that tower is not making it out of there most of the time. 130 HP left. That is no shape for that tower to be in.
It's gone. Just
gone.
by the guard.
Guard. MVP right there. It's not very often you see a guard single-handedly take a tower.
I have to say, 5 Gaming, they thought steps ahead now. Where basically Pono Sports literally stood static for the timeout duration. They didn't do anything. They didn't change anything. They just kind of kept with the same day, hoping they will win out again. But wow, look at this now. We just might see 5 Gaming pull us back even now. 2 golems being summoned on the left.
Yeah, we have we have a double golem push on one side, a double lava hound push on the other, and that tower is down. But that tower there for Pono Sports is in so much trouble.
3 crowns. They're going for 3 crowns here. The lava hound is still going for it. The golem is there as well.
History.
Oh, the 2 crowns now going to go over to Rad and Yakitori. Still moving forward here. The lava hound on the left side. What is that? What is the purpose of that?
There is not enough time for this lava hound to connect to the towers.
What a disaster! This is absolutely terrible coming in from the side of opponents, but I feel like they just lost and just ran out of ideas here. They're just trying rockets all over the place. That's not going to kill off the turret here, and it's gonzo, and it's going to be the dunzo for the side of Pono Sports. As we see, 5 Gaming taking that timeout well, recovering and finding a winning formula against pretty much the same deck that brought to you by Pono Sports.
Yeah, this time they were well prepared to destroy that double lava hound.
Oh man.
Oh.
Double Inferno Dragon.
Sorry, double golem push. Sorry, I'm getting confused.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Pono Sports there, they went again with golem, right?
They went with the lava hound.
They went with the lava. I'm getting my teams confused.
Yeah, the Pono Sport, they're moving upwards with the lava hound. First game we saw the Inferno Dragon try to wipe it over, but we saw the rocket come through. Now we're kind of doing rewinding in time. But we saw this time, we saw 5 Gaming pull out double Inferno Dragon. That was the difference right there. Because even with the first rocket destroying their first Inferno Dragon, the second Inferno Dragon came out having really much of a better defensive tool against the lava hounds, even if there's 2 of them.
And then it connected onto the tower and took that tower to work, right? Yeah, okay. So because both games are almost the same, but with different results, it's hard for me to remember who's on whose side. But that Inferno Dragon connecting onto that tower, taking it down from full health to 130 HP, with next to no defense being there. The 2 Golemites were almost full HP. Inferno Dragon looks at it as like, I can take this, no problem. Brings it down to 130 HP.
I mean, that was the only difference. The key difference they made was they went from 1 Inferno Dragon to 2 Inferno Dragon. That made the world of a difference. I mean, we were thinking about this earlier. How do you counter against that when you have double lava hound just rushing in and you have the rocket ready to go in case the Inferno Dragon show up? Just summon another Inferno Dragon. That was the answer.
And good positioning as well.
I agree.
Because we had the Inferno Dragon summoned right on top of the lava hound, and then the second one, once that rocket was launched, was put right in the middle between the 2 kings on the tower. And that just kept it away from the rocket, but in range of the lava hound.
Just using that rotation with the sap, trying to make sure the deck is ready to go with the hands here.
We see another golem here for 5 Gaming and a P.E.K.K.A. in response this time for Pono Sports. We have seen P.E.K.K.A.s do so much work against golems, but the Inferno Dragon is a threat against P.E.K.K.A. She cannot shoot upwards, so that Inferno Dragon will be able to deal so much damage, and a flying machine in defense. And there is the respect.
Oh, he missed!
He missed!
He missed the flying machine. Uh-oh, this is going to be trouble.
Yes, not very often we see a miss at this kind of level, and usually you want to take out that flying machine because it is such a good defensive tool, and he missed the fireball.
They had to use another 4 elixir just to get the poison to kill out the flying machine before it does any more defensive strats. And what are we going to see here? Is this going to be the snowball we're seeing from Pono Sport? That was a big mistake coming from 5 Gaming, missing that fireball.
Yeah, unfortunately for Ponos, 5 Gaming were ready for that miner, which means that the P.E.K.K.A. didn't go towards the tower. If that P.E.K.K.A. had gone near the tower, that would have been terrible, terrible damage. Using the miner to soak up the damage as the P.E.K.K.A. walks forward, managing to reach that tower, but didn't happen this game.
We're going to see if that trade-out does benefit Ponos a little bit more, as we see the P.E.K.K.A. being summoned as a counter to the Golem being summoned above from 5 Gaming.
Yeah, this time they've decided to support their Golem with the Prince.
Not the Dark Prince.
Not the Dark Prince, the normal Prince.
He's going to have a melee damage, mostly going against the P.E.K.K.A here, but P.E.K.K.A's obviously a lot stronger than it seems. He's going to take down the Prince relatively easy. Now the next target is towards the Golem.
Yeah, one of the interesting things there, we saw the P.E.K.K.A just targeted the Prince and not the Golem, which actually should have worked out in the favor of Fav Gaming.
Oh, look
but
at
it
this,
didn't.
Dark
The
Prince.
Golem still went down, and there is so much going on right now. Bats.
Oh,
we see
the freeze! The Inferno is going to be going forward with the Lava Hound, and still so much damage done without it being destroyed. Oh, we're going to see the first tower going down.
What a
Great
fireball.
fireball coming in from Fav Gaming. What a 1-2, really kill off all the units single-handedly with a relatively cheap 4 elixir summon there.
Brilliant fireball, just taking out so much elixir. It gives so much of an advantage here to Fav Gaming.
Yeah, we can see Fav Gaming just rotating here now. They're going all in on the left side with the 2 golems, but P.E.K.K.A has been summoned.
This did work for them last time when they summoned those double golems. It was a very difficult push to finish, and it looks like it's going to happen again. Raging up those golems so they move so much quicker, but
the Tombstone.
Tombstone pulling away that golem. P.E.K.K.A isn't turned around yet. She wasn't fighting the golem, so it was all up to the Dark Prince, who does get fireballed. Miner here needed to be able to defend this, but there is so much coming here.
This doesn't look good as we see the freeze coming at just about time, but I don't know if he has additional units to save against this attack. The overtime coming through, still the poison being put out just to make sure the defensive units are not as effective. This can become very, very close. We see a lot of spell rotation. Both players do have the fireball. Can use that. Just another golden push to finish out the end here.
Yeah, at this point in time, every little damage is going to put you further and further ahead. It's going to make your position even stronger.
Oh,
and the
rage.
poison's dropping down on that tower at the bottom left. It's just so important.
Oh, 557 to 504. The Prince going to make a charge. He was going to be stopped right there just momentarily. 259 on the tower count, though. It's going to be very impressive, but that was going to be the fireball to end it on Fav. Come back, as we thought they were going to be furiously behind after that first game defeat. They come back after a loss in 1v1. Now they get their win in 2v2, and we're going to go into the ace match for the very first time of the day.
Yeah, I was going to say the very first time in the Japanese region as
well. I
well.
think it might be,
There were no ace matches last week.
You're right.
We just had a draw, which made it seem like there was this ace match because it went on for 4 sets. But we are going to get down, and we have to decide, who do you think these teams are going to put out? I can definitely see Reiki Jones coming from Ponos because he played
really
so well in that first set.
What about Rad? What about Rad from Fav Gaming? I just put that on the line because, you know, he's been so consistent for his team across 2 weeks, and he's had the more experience in this competitive stage. He feels like he can be that one to really make it forward here. Player selection, 2 minutes allotted to make the choice here. Of course, the choice will be made amongst the 3 players that haven't played so far.
Yeah, I just want to point out, Rad has played Amaterasu from Game With, and he ended up losing that game. He played, who was it from Detonation? Let me just double check. He played Ku from Detonation and won both games. So Rad is definitely a very strong 1v1 choice here. And he did play in the 2v2, which means he is eligible for this match, for this set. So we could be seeing Reiki Jones versus Rad, and that would be an incredible matchup after the way Reiki Jones played the first time, the way Rad played against Detonation Gaming last week, where he was using Bandits, Battering Ram, Inferno Dragon as his win condition. And in the second game, he used the Ram again with 3 Musketeers this time to take that second win.
Do have 1 more minute for both teams to make a decision on who their savior is going to be, who the closer pitcher is going to be, because everything comes down to this one. It's about that one last set. 1v1 between the best of the best for both teams to really decide who the winner is going to be, who's going to take additional win as a closer of this Japanese region qualifiers, and who's going to suffer another defeat, taking another L on the record book there.
Yeah, it's so hard at this point to be able to choose between the two teams. Which player do you put your faith in? We saw Reiki Jones play really, really well in his 1v1 earlier. Maybe Fuchi great 1v1 player. We're just not sure. Fuchi actually lost both his games last week, so probably won't be putting Fuchi out. But maybe Mikan. We're not sure. Mikan might be really, really good. And then for Fav Gaming, Ken Sumeshi lost his first game in convincing fashion.
Yep.
Rad, 1-1, lost one. Yakitori hasn't played a 1v1 yet, so Pono Sports won't know what to ban against him. But they know maybe against Rad we can ban the battering ram.
Sure.
So at this point, it's really hard to guess which team, which player each team is going to put out.
We're going to go stage by stage and step by step as to what we're going to be seeing in the process with things. But the first process, obviously, is to select the players and select the players you're going to be selecting out to make sure you represent the team correctly. And we kind of have an answer for Pono Sport. We feel like it will be Raiki Jones, but it very well could be coming from Rad. Yeah, Raiki Jones. It really could be over both sides, and Fav Gaming could see the Rad coming out for their team again.
Yeah, we're just waiting on confirmation on who has been picked for these teams. I don't know if we're going to see Fuchi after he lost 2-0 last week.
I don't think so either.
I definitely think at the way that Raiki played at the beginning, he should be Pono Sports' choice. But we do need to wait for confirmation. And here we go.
Mikan Booya.
It is Mikan Booya versus Yakitori. Both these players haven't played 1v1 yet.
Okay.
Very
Yakitori is an
choice.
interesting pick too. It's like he made his debut today in the Japanese region qualifiers. Feels like the fresh dog is ready to go to make sure he was as the freshest of cleans, and he wants to make the performance that counts. And here he is, Yakitori, after going through not playing week 1. He's now in week 2, making his first appearance. 2-2, very nice result for that. But he's back again after such a successful run, trying to feel like he's the one to save his team to another victory.
Yeah, I'm very surprised that Raiki Jones wasn't chosen. They have put faith in Mikan here, and I'm surprised that Rad wasn't chosen for Fav Gaming. Yakitori and Mikan both feel like they're playing like, the rookie to take the penalty kick that decides the final, the finals, right?
Yeah.
It's the last kick of the penalties. Both these players are kind of their debuts. It's a very risky thing to do at this point. They don't have the experience under the cameras for 1v1, but let's see what happens.
It's gonna be interesting because it's a similar decision being made by both teams. That's what makes it more interesting, because Mikan Booya, obviously you had said you haven't really seen him at 1v1. It's the first experience for him, obviously in this big stage competitively. You can see him thinking through his head, what's the best way forward, but he's going to be up against Yakitori, player we haven't seen at all at week 1, comes back in week 2 with a better standing and better reputation for what he can produce on the playfield.
Yeah, Mikan has only played 2v2 so far, and he's always played with Fuchi. So we're going to be seeing the ban cards.
Wow.
Expo and Tornado. That Expo ban again here for Pono Sports, and a Tornado ban in 1v1. We don't usually see
Both are quite odd.
that.
Both are quite odd. I mean, Expo, for its own reason, obviously, it's not the most commonly picked card for anybody. And you feel like if Yakitori is that kind of guy that really utilizes the Expo, we just never know. We didn't get that information, but he just might be. But the information behind the Expo is rather unknown. But that Tornado is becoming a more interesting ban itself.
Yeah, usually we see the Tornado banned when someone is going for Hog Riders. It's easy to pull that Hog Rider down into the Crown Tower and activate it. Goblin Gang is another one that we usually see because you cannot Tornado that. Tornado is a really good spell at pulling things into your Crown Tower, making sure that your Executioner or your Dark Prince will deal max damage. Tornado ban though? I'm not sure about a Tornado ban in 1v1.
Will we see a huge Hog Rider deck for Yakitori? If that was the case there, then could be interesting to see, because we haven't really seen a Hog Rider-centric deck in quite a long time, especially in 1v1.
We saw one earlier today, no? With the Frost Golem in front, Hog Rider behind it, and it got like 6-7 hits on the tower.
Yeah.
So we have seen it today, but I don't know if we're going to see it again. Like, Hog Rider is a very specific kind of deck.
Yeah.
And Yakitori here, favorite card, the Rocket. Now remember, the favorite card, you can choose any favorite card. It doesn't have to be the card you use the most. Because we have seen Bomb Tower in there, and you know.
Hey, I've seen a Bomb Tower in my casual game today, so you can't argue against that anymore.
I'm still going to argue it. Like, we just don't see it often, is what I mean. Like,
fair statement.
Out of all the pro games I've watched, the CCGS last year, so far in the Clash Royale League Asia, I can count on one hand how many times I've seen a Bomb Tower. 0.
Wow.
0 times. I saw it in one show match 2v2, and it was banned. They banned it in a show match 2v2. That's the only time I've seen a Bomb Tower in anything. I even forgot what the image looks like.
I mean, at least we know we're not gonna see a Bomb Tower being banned here. So, being played, I don't know. Gonna have to find out. But Expo being banned, it's a weird spectacle in itself. Obviously, the Tornado adds to the indication that we might see some type of a full rush deck from Yakitori. But it's only our speculation. We're gonna have to see and wait to find out for ourselves once the game actually begins.
Yeah, we do have about 20 seconds before this game will be ready to start. They're currently changing their decks, so maybe the Expo ban was very well targeted because they seem to be in a lot of discussion here. Maybe they have to make these changes to the decks.
Could be the games to decide it all here for FAV Gaming, who have done a really good to make sure they make a comeback on a situation very difficult against them. Obviously, Pono Sports winning out at 1v1 became more difficult when the first game of 2v2 went against them as well in such a heartbreaking fashion. So now they're on to this long journey of comebacks. Literally a reverse sweep is on the way if they can get this done on this ace match.
Yeah, and I have to say, Mikan does look incredibly nervous. Yakitori just, you know, kind of looks, yeah, all right, I'm about to play some Clash Royale. But Mikan, I don't know, man, he looks a bit nervous. Calming himself down here with a little bit of meditation, making sure that he's ready mentally as well as physically for the game. But Yakitori just looks like it's another day of Clash Royale for him.
A lot is on the line. It is the difference between whether he can take another win in the record book for your regional qualifiers, or it's going to be used as a player, giving your team another loss, which would be heavily demeanor when it comes to the reputation of your team. You move forward and face off the other teams in the regions to come.
Yeah, Miner there does connect with the Dark Prince instead of the tower. Yakitori there, not the greatest of starts. You always want that Miner to connect to the tower. Mikamboya, though, does summon that Prince at the back. It is going to connect with the Ice Golem, and then it's going to take out that Musketeer.
It's not going to have the support coming in from the Prince's tower to help the Prince out in that perspective. Okay, so
great prediction on that log.
But still, it was only a guard, so it was still able to defend out quite handily. So I get the idea, but obviously we're not seeing much Skeletons or Goblin gangs being played much nowadays. It's mostly been about the guard because the reliable shields allow that kind of play to become malleable.
Yeah, but it's still a decent trade, a log for a guard. It's still 1+ elixir. You know, it's valuable.
Sure.
We see the Giant here for Mikamboya. What is he going to build up behind this? I'm going to guess double Prince. Once he gets to 9 elixir, we're going to see the Dark Prince. And then the Prince drop down slightly in the second. But that Miner might change plans here. But it doesn't. He does play that Prince on the other side. So Dark Prince on the right-hand side with the Golem taking in the tower.
Oh, the Hunter
dealing so much damage to that Giant, though. Incredible play. We don't see many Hunters, to be honest.
We don't, but we're going to be seeing this Prince making a rush. The first charge comes in, second knock comes in, the third knock comes in, fourth knock, and that will destroy the tower. And all of a sudden, wow, Mikamboya got that done in a hurry.
Yeah, Yakitori's hands were off the device. Like, why did he not have anything to defend that? The charge came in, dealt so much damage, and then he gets 3 hits, and he gets a charge onto the King Tower. What is happening to Yakitori?
We thought it was Mikamboya being the one nervous here, but Yakitori, wow, having no answers for that Prince coming in.
Yeah, we do see The Hunter here dealing so much damage. It does get fireballed. No Giant to stand in front, but the Miner.
Oh, look at this. The Prince rushing in once again. No defense for him right now, just to see the Ice Spirit to slow him down with the Hunter. Finally making the exit for the Prince there, but what are you supposed to do if you're the side of Yakitori when you have one turret down? How can you defend this from coming back a little bit further?
Poison Miner. Great combo, but I don't think he can deal that much damage in 10 seconds, but we do have to wait and see. 726 HP on that tower. Too much to defend.
Oh, look at this, the Dark Prince. The Dark Prince, if just left alone, if he had more time, the second tower would have gone in a hurry. And wow, Mikimbuya showing what is up by getting that really good performance on that 1v1.
Yeah, Yakitori, I don't want to say a mistake, but he never really tried to defend. Like, that Prince connecting with the tower was huge.
Yeah.
That Prince hitting 3 more times, that's even bigger. The Prince going further on and charging into the King Tower? What is going on? That should never happen.
I mean, I can't recall to that exact situation where did he have the elixir to defend with any units?
I think he had about 4 elixir after the charge.
Then put any units up front.
Exactly. Anything would have helped just to stop that charge damage, because that charge damage is so big.
To be fair, I felt like Yakitori, you did use a lot of elixirs prior to that charge coming in. So that's why I was asking you whether, you know, any elixirs were available for Yakitori to make that defense. But if that wasn't, obviously, it's understandable why he took all that damage, because after you take that charge, even if you summon something in front of it, it's still going to go for the tower most likely. And this is a big enough unit that just kind of moves it away from it. But that's what we just saw coming in from Yakitori. Didn't really put up any defense there. Almost even giving up just on the tower.
Yeah, getting 1 hit with the charge, so getting charged plus 1 extra hit with a Prince, that's big. Right? That's normally as much as you will get with a Prince at this level. But here, 3 hits, I just can't get over it. Hopefully Yakitori now has had a second. He's played one game. He's like, okay, that's the nerves out the way. I'm ready to come in. I'm ready to play my game. Yakitori now drops the Ice Golem and the guards at the top of the screen in red. Mikambuya, though, counters with the Goblin Gang. First time I think we've seen it today, maybe the second. But Skeleton Balloon as well. But plays it in front of where that Musketeer is. Not the best decision, especially with the Hunter there. Again, Hunter being played. Pretty sure I've only seen Yakitori play Hunter.
Seen it in Southeast Asia a couple of times. Gotta look at Korea as well, see if that's a good play.
Yeah, and you can see the Tornado not in play means you can put that Miner anywhere around the tower without really fearing it getting pulled into the center. You can see the Royal Ghost here just taking out the Ice Golem. He's going to get 1 hit onto the tower and then die. Pretty even Stevens right now.
You see the Skeleton Barrel being summoned here on the left side for Mikimbuya.
Yeah, and again, Musketeer here will take quick care of the balloon. Prince coming in. Ice Spirit does freeze it in place.
Oh, nice guards coming in.
Guards coming in. Makes it much more difficult for this Prince to move forward here. It is going to fall. And now we do have Ice Golem. There is the Royal Giant to take out the Musketeer. But that Miner is going to work digging through that bottom right-hand tower.
Okay, look at this. Miner is not going to be answered quite well. That poison is not even going to target on the Miner in hand.
Oh, this is so much damage. Miner, then the Royal Giant, then the Spear Goblin behind. Does way too much damage. And Yakitori once again on the defense just didn't have the elixir there this time, but still shouldn't be taking that much damage. He needs to be a lot better at managing his elixir.
Yakitori just trying to go on the counter attack here. Make sure he can get the damage back done on the side.
There's the Miner. Hunter this time played straight away, takes out that Miner in 2 hits. Very good counter to that, but it will drop to the poison damage here.
Hey, look at the skeleton barrel. Oh, he missed it. He missed the zap. He missed the zap in time, and that is going to be a huge mistake. We saw it earlier for a first series. It happens again. The zap coming in just a little bit early before the skeletons drop from the barrel, and we're going to see just a free tower going over to the left.
Yeah, unfortunately, it doesn't look like Yakitori is going to have the time here to be able to come back into this game, and Mikamboya is going to take it. He knows it. We know it.
Wow.
Mikamboya closes the set. Ponos Sports taking the game over Fav Gaming. We were not expecting this coming into this morning.
Who would have thought that skeleton barrel would have been a difference maker? It happens again. The zap is ready. It's just a direct. It's the most direct counter you can have to a skeleton barrel once it starts landing. No matter how many skeletons there are, if you're in that range, perfect range for the zap to just get rid of all the skeletons as soon as it lands.
You can even wait half a second more for those skeletons to touch the floor before zapping it. Sure, you'll get 1 or 2 hits, but it's way better than what happened here.
Yeah.
So we're just going to get a quick replay. We can see the poisons taking out the Goblin Gang.
Happens right here, right after that rotation. When the next skeleton barrel comes apart, this is when it happens.
Yeah, that Dark Goblin, really, really popular. Here we go. So you can see
right here,
it comes in.
Everything's taken care of. Look at this.
Yeah,
Everything's
poison
gone.
Takes out that
no
hunter
problem.
so quickly.
No problem. Right there.
That zap was way too early. If he waited just that little bit more, Yakitori, that was a big misplay.
That was a big mistake coming in from Yakitori.
And that he couldn't push. He couldn't do anything after that.
Losing that tower, or you lost you the game. Literally 10 seconds left after that. What are you supposed to do?
There's nothing. It's so hard when you're building up a push to deal that much damage in the time remaining. And we are going to go to an interview with Ponos.
Let's hear a few words from the team. Mikamboya. It was amazing. Everyone trusted me when they selected me as an ace set. Well, normally, when it was an ace set, I normally go for the team, so I represent the team. And they selected me again, so I'm very glad that they have selected me as the final. From the beginning, there was a very aggressive attack on the beginning. From the opponents, I like to predict what the other components are doing and predict an attack. So that's my favorite play. So I predicted what the opponent was going to play, what the decks that they were going to play, and I think that helped me. I've missed in the very beginning, but I was able to come back to it and win the game as well. Honestly, against the Tank God and Mikan game, I almost cried. I was very happy. My performance is the worst amongst the team, so I'm very glad our team was able to make up for it. Tank God? The other 3 players on the team did very well today, so I was able to trust them, and I was very relieved. Ponos Sports, thank you very much.
So that seems like the end of the interview there. Very proud Ponos Sports there, pulling off a surprising win once again. Once again, something that we didn't expect or predict.
Yeah, Fav Gaming being 1 and 2 now. Wow.
Wow. Look at that. The result is an absolute mess in the best of ways, Simon.
It is. No one here would have predicted this. Ponos Sports
look at
beating
that.
Detonation Gaming. That's probably the only one we could have predicted. But then Detonation Gaming taking game with, and then Ponos Sports taking Fav Gaming. I don't think there is a soul out there that would have predicted those results.
Ponos Sports came into week 2 with no wins. Of course, they only had 1 set to play, but they lost quite handily. So we thought in week 2, them and Detonation Gaming, maybe there's an edge between one of the 2 teams, and maybe they'll just lose the other game. 2 wins on the day for Ponos Sports. Incredible.
Yeah, and we can see the standings now. 3-0 Bren Esports, 3-0 Kingzone Dragon X, and then Japan, no 3-0 team, 2-1. Not really much of a disadvantage at this point, though, because there are still so many games to play.
I feel like this is the most evenly matched region when it comes to all 4 teams competing almost at the same level now. Detonation Gaming are not a bad team anymore. We once thought they were, but after week 2, their performance today showed us they're no longer a weaker team.
Their performance in match 2, their performance in match 1 still confirms. But we can see week 3's matches. We can see OGN Enters versus Game with, OPGG Skeleton versus Pono Sports, and Sandbox versus Fav Gaming next Friday. I cannot wait to watch Sandbox and OPGG Skeleton.
That becomes a very exciting day. Korea versus Japan for Clash Royale League Asia. It's happening next Friday. Everything will be on the line. The pride will be on the line. And this is where we start forming the flame around the 2 regions to see who's really the truly dominant region.
Yeah, I cannot wait for Japan versus Korea.
It's going to be amazing.
There is so much on stake there, the pride of the country between these 2 countries. It's going to be explosive. But you have to tune in next Friday. 7 p.m. is it?
Yeah, 7 p.m. It's going to be me and G-Clef with Simon taking a break for a day. He'll be coming back Saturday and Sunday to give us more action. But it's going to be very exciting days of Clash Royale. I can guarantee you on that one.
Yeah, I cannot wait for you to watch live the Korean teams play because they're so good most of the time.
I haven't seen them yet.
I know.
Only seen them on television, and now I get to see them on live, casting over them. It's going to be excitement to watch.
Can't wait. Can't wait to watch that. Watch and listen to you and G-Clef cast that game. It's going to be good fun next Friday.
It really is, and we don't have much time until we get there. We get about just a week of general week, and we always come back on the weekends to enjoy all the Clash Royale action, as we do have it on every Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, knowing that those 3 days you can cover just to make sure you'll have all the Clash Royale action on the day. So go back to school, go back to work, whatever, but come back on Friday, and we'll give you all the Clash Royale Asia action back on the way.
Yeah. Every weekend we're here for the next, I think, 2 months.
Yeah, it's going to be a long time. You know, we got a lot of games to play over the month, and as the times go by, as each week passes, we'll kind of get a better understanding of who the stronger region are, and maybe get a little less confusion as we did today.
Hopefully we don't get the same level of confusion, because we want to be able to predict who is going to be the strongest out of these regions, because we want to know. We're going to fight over who gets to cast the matches we're most excited for.
I agree, and we're talking about just Asia at the moment, because we're showing you that with both of us, we get to cast the Japan region, and we just don't know if they're the strongest quite yet. But we're going to find out next Friday if Japan is stronger than Korea, as we return to me and G-Clef, who's going to be covering that action. So we'll return at 7 p.m. local time, and we'll see you then for Korea versus Japan.